call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Ms. Brando, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Herschel.
Here.
Mrs. Lombardi. Mr. Tozer. Mr. Matthews.
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Grace.
Here.
Ms. Russell.
Here.
Mayor Henry.
Present.
All right, we do have a quorum to conduct business. Just a reminder that we are on camera, and a copy of this meeting will be uploaded to YouTube. Scheduled visitors, Donna, from all mine.
No, sit here or do I need to start?
I'll stand up. You can stand back where the
You
camera
have
is.
to- you have to turn
stand
around and
underneath
smile.
over here.
Unless it's back of your head.
No, just the back of my head. So I was here last week because it was my 1-year anniversary, and so I thought I'd come by and say hi. Now this week I'm here because I want to ask for an increase in OMI's stipend. For about 10 years, we've been receiving $10,500 from council, or from the borough, and that is because of the things that we do. Some of the things that we take away from the borough having to do are some rubbish pickup in the bid, downtown decorations, the flowers, and the gateway signage. I just did an inventory of all of our gateway signage and all of the parking signs, and they are all in need of repair. So we're gonna have to spend a little bit of money this year. Plus we're getting the haystacks, the hanging baskets put in downtown, which is gonna increase our cost significantly because we have to have someone water them. So I would like to, from the board of directors, respectfully request that we increase our stipend to $15,500. Does anyone have any questions?
Is that for 2017?
I'd like it to be for 2016, if possible.
So is there a breakdown on all of that, what the person costs to water the plants and?
Watering the flowers is for the haystacks, because we can't reach them, but it's approximately $6,000 a year for the maintenance of those, because we can't reach them. We can water all the lower ones.
Does that include the installation of the flowers themselves?
It's $14,000 total for all of the flowers, that includes Christmas, all flowers for the entire year is $14,000. Approximately $6,000 of it, though, is maintenance to water those haystacks. But I think it's worth it, because it really does make the town look nice to have those hanging. And I hate having something we don't use. So, but that's just a small part. Like I said,
That's a small part of what LMI does.
that's a small part also of this little increase. So this is $15,500. Just the maintenance of the flowers is $6,000. So plus the rubbish removal and the signs. These are just things that the borough would probably have to do if there were no OMI. I'm not counting all the things that OMI does on top of that does good for the town.
Can I ask another question?
Go ahead, Mayor.
So it's for this year, and then is it the intent to continue to ask for that amount moving forward?
I would like that very much, and so would the board.
So our budget's already set this year. Do you want us to add to 2016? Is that what you're asking?
If possible.
Okay.
I have or Randy, you had a.
What happened to I thought we had a watering truck basically that was used
That
to
was
do
sold,
the
that was owned personally by.
That was Buddy.
That
Buddy
was owned by him.
McCord.
Thank you. That's what I'm-
I would like to say, $15,000 gives the borough a lot of value with LMI. I mean, if we had to pay people, if we had to hire employees to do what LMI does, not only with the downtown, what they do with the facades and the flowers and the other things, but I mean, LMI does a lot of work that if we had to pay employees to do it, it'd cost us, you know, 2 full-time employees or a full-time employee, however many $1,000 a year in benefits that would be. I might get myself in trouble here, Artie might smack me, but,
She's not here tonight.
I know that we did have some money left over from our budget last year, we took from
You might get yourself in trouble.
Why don't we, why don't we push it to finance and see if they can come up with $5,000 somewhere and accommodate it?
Have some of that money to put into capital and that sort of thing, right?
You're gonna take it to
I
finance?
agree, Randy. I mean, we've been on this 10,500 for how many years?
It's been around 10. I was looking for the records at the beginning and
And I'm sure costs go up, just like we've experienced in the borough for our costs.
And they do a lot more than they did at the beginning, so.
and this is just part of it, so any help you could give us would be very much appreciated.
So it'll probably be, finance doesn't meet for another, a month.
About a month, okay.
So they meet after, they meet between the 2 meetings, so.
Okay.
They meet again in April.
Should I go to that, or will you just let me know, or
I'm on finance,
you'll let me?
so
Okay.
me and Gary and Sue
Okay,
will bring it up next finance meeting.
thank you for giving your consideration.
Any other questions
Do you have other questions
or
for me?
her about LMI? Not, we'll move, thanks, Don.
Okay.
We'll move on to public comment. Any public comment at this time? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Mike Baker. I live at 45 East Mount Vernon, here in the borough. The residence next to me, 49 East Mount Vernon, is getting excessive traffic going in and out of there, inordinate amount of traffic. Sometimes only for a minute, they go in and then come out. So that just, I don't want to say that something illicit is going on, but in my mind, something's wrong there. So I just want to put that on public record. Also at that residence, they're running a, well, in the winter now they're not, but there's a lawn care business that they're running out of there. It's a, they're tenants at that property, and it's zoned residential, but in the next couple of weeks, when lawns start growing again, I'm gonna start seeing trailers going in and out of there with lawn mowing equipment on it. I get a vehicle that leaves at 4:45 in the morning and then comes back at 6 o'clock in the morning, loads up a trailer with lawn mowing equipment, and you'll get a individual that does not reside at that residence parks his privately owned vehicle there, and then gets in a white pickup truck, the work truck, and they go out to do their work. So that was it about 49, and I just had a question for the chief. I've spoken to the corporal. My car got ransacked, or went through about 2 weeks ago. It was my fault. I left it unlocked. I said, you know, I moved to lovely Oxford. I don't need to lock my car. That was my fault. And I spoke to the corporal, and he said 3 other cars were gone through that evening. And I think the week prior, he advised me that another neighborhood had been vandalized. I was just wondering, is this, I mean, have there been more? Have there been last week? Have there been more, property?
I believe there were 4 last week,
Okay.
not all on the same street, but on at least your side of the borough.
Mm-hmm.
There was several in another neighborhood 2 weeks ago, I believe. And I believe we got video or pictures from someone that was probably related to yours, or we're getting them. Not
Okay.
sure if we've got them yet. And, we follow the leads as they come in. But we haven't made any arrests.
All right. is there, does the borough have a crime blog or anything like that? You know, where I can look up, where people can look up, you know, what type of, criminal activities have been going on in the borough?
Used to get a newspaper,
Yeah, the newspaper periodically will publish arrests.
I don't,
But there is no law per se that is listed on a regular basis.
I do think that what you mentioned is something that I've heard too, where residents would like to know what kind of illegal activity is going on in their own neighborhoods so that they could be more vigilant. Yeah, so if we could address that, make a note of that to address that.
now, report in the paper, you can't do that until there is an arrest. You
Well,
can't
right, that's
work
a
on
no help.
something, or you can't speak to
Well, I
something
mean,
you're working on, but
We send a weekly, I just lost the word, but we send a weekly list out to the, a blotter out with the incidents just in general form as they come in. Whether they get printed or not
Now, what paper is that that's sent to?
goes to the Chester County Press, the Daily Local News, I believe the Avondale Sun.
I know when we had an issue brought up before, and it indicated that the reports were being sent, there must have been a glitch in the communication, because at that time Chester County Press was saying that they had not been receiving them. Steve, are you receiving them now?
It's a lot more frequent.
Yeah, good.
Well,
Do
I
we have
can
any
tell
chance
you
of
that
getting
we-
it printed?
I think we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do print some of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
And those are generally the arrests, correct, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Betsy, who, if somebody's in violation of like running a business out of their home, that code that looks
Yes.
into that?
Yes. Yes, and we have had codes over there before, you're probably aware of that, I think they, yeah.
Right, I spoke to the.
Yeah, and codes also works with the police department, with the police officers, because they came in on that too, I think Corporal Brown. So I'll check with them tomorrow to see what, what's going on with there. I know Mary was just mentioning that again. So, yeah.
And I met with Mary when I talked to you.
Right.
And at that point, they had, I believe, addressed that with the land property owner. And I believe the codes enforcement officer was also there.
Yeah, that's what you said, they were.
Didn't see any signs of a business being operated out.
Like you said, it'll be
And that-
spring probably, because it's a long.
Right, and when I spoke to Mary about a week ago, she, passed that information on to me as well. But if you look there, there's a big, area where they have trailers in there, lawn mowing equipment in there, and I'd like taking care of my lawn, but I
Yeah.
keep all my stuff in my garage.
And I'll check
And
to see, yeah.
it's for commercial
Yeah.
purposes.
Yeah, and I'll check to see, because there are some instances that you can have, a home business. I don't believe they've got that permit there, but I'll check and make sure if the lawn business, since it's not done there and it's done somewhere else, but I'll check on that too. I'll follow up with that.
And I mean, there are no signs out there that
Yeah,
say J&K,
yeah, I know,
but
yeah.
it's being run,
J&K, why do you say that?
Do
Yeah.
we know if they're parking on the grass, or are they parking in vehicles on the grass? Do you know?
the people who, there,
They have an
so many
area in the
people
back,
in
don't
there,
they? Yeah.
it's a gravel, driveway. That's why I can hear them when they leave at 4:45 in the morning, they're driving the trucks on a gravel driveway.
Is that
It's not
considered
visible.
impervious?
It's
Yeah,
not
that's
visible
fine,
from
gravel's
the road.
okay.
Gravel?
But it would be,
We'll check.
have more to do with home business and traffic.
Yeah, and whether or not the lawn
How many
business
employees they have
coming out of
in.
there, yes, that's, yeah, and we have checked, I just don't, know what their recent finding was, and I think, like I said, it'll stir up again in spring,
Right.
so that'll give us more, yeah, okay.
Chief, with the recent incidents with vehicles being broken into or ransacked, is there enough of these incidents that you feel would be beneficial to put it on our Facebook page as a be aware to the residents? Not to do anything per se, but to say,
You
you know.
can do that with one incident. I guess we can do that, yeah.
If you're on Facebook,
On the police Facebook page or the?
Well, I'm thinking the Borough Facebook
Borough
page.
well, if you're,
Facebook
you go on
page.
Oxford Western Board or West Grove Western Board, they've all been having the same problem. West Grove's been getting hit
Yeah,
like crazy.
I just,
and then give
For
some
me-
pointers, you know.
for me, I would
off
hate
the
to see
doors.
it be funneled through an unofficial page, because that sort of, to be honest with you, looks like we're dragging our feet with it then.
Yeah, I think you're right, it needs to be put on a Facebook page, just so people can be aware, I mean, I'd like to be aware of
Yeah,
that.
we had like 5 or 6 break-ins in Oxford and Brookside.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
some
suicide.
pointers like, hey, lock your doors to your vehicles, might help.
Yeah.
Ron, would you have any
All the
issues?
people I talked to, their doors were unlocked.
No,
Their
no.
computers were
Work
stolen.
together.
That was the best $50 lesson I learned. Lock your
Lock
damn
your
door.
door,
Excuse
yeah.
me.
Well, I learned a lesson,
I was going,
I learned a lesson a long time ago. I left my vehicle run at the old Campbell store early one morning, nobody around. Went in for 3 minutes, came out, gone.
Chief, could you provide Betsy some verbiage to put on the,
well, you can, but the mayor
Yeah,
has
the
access to
mayor.
Facebook, so the mayor can do it, yeah.
Yeah.
that's
It's
fine.
police, yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Any other public comment? Thanks.
Mr. Baker,
thank you for
thank
coming
you.
out.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it.
Yes, Jerome?
Last week Melissa was here and talked about the yard sale in May, and I think we indicated we need a permit this year. And last year we didn't need a permit. And I think you said that we didn't because there was no road closures. We're not taking any parking spots up. No meter tags or anything else,
And this is the Chambers
just the chambers
yard sale.
road sale. An annual event.
It's not even, I think we get it confused with our Borough yard sale, but don't you mean like the, what is
Sidewalk
the-
sale.
thank you, sidewalk
Sidewalk
sale,
sale.
that's what I'm trying to
Not
say.
yard sale, we
Yeah,
call it,
yeah.
they call it the
Yeah, but it's actually on the sidewalks.
sidewalks.
I think the discussion last year pretty much centered around if a business is located like you,
Right,
you can set up in front of your store or sidewalk sale without a permit. If vendors come in and are gonna set up if they don't have a business that's already operating and they set up, they need a permit.
well, last year we didn't need it.
Well, last
And we
year,
did
the
tell you that-
the ordinance was
It was a little different.
a little different. And I know Monday night, I'm going to the codes meeting so we can discuss some procedural issues that relate to the transient retail business permit ordinance and also to the special event ordinance, because in a lot of cases, they seem to be overlapping.
Well, last week, I think it was admitted that since they were changed for the better, they actually got worse.
Well, I disagree with the fact that they got worse, because
Well, this was
the
the
new
codes
ordinance,
person that said,
the new ordinance actually does some things that I think we needed to do. They did get more confusing.
well, that's what
She
she
said
said.
muddier, she said muddier, yeah.
Now,
But if it's-
are we
I got
committed to
some.
come to this code meeting?
If it's a,
Public's invited?
chief,
Yeah,
if it's a Chamber of Commerce event, why can't the Chamber of Commerce do a special events permit to cover everybody and to be done with it?
Well, that's what, yeah.
Not
That's what they
individual.
said they did.
That's what, I
There you
mean,
go.
we know we can do that, yeah.
I see that face.
that's the same thing that
I
I'm.
know, Mike, yeah.
And
Well,
Jerome,
we still have
Yeah,
to
but
do
it's
a
a nonprofit.
transient business license for every single
Yeah,
one
vendors
of our
couldn't
vendors.
make it.
They
Yeah.
all have to go to the police department, fill
It's
out
no different than all
paperwork.
mine.
I mean, they don't have to pay the
All mine
fee.
does the same thing, special events permit.
yeah,
And then vendors come in.
I understand the thought that it's
But
more convoluted and more confusing and more cumbersome. I think the big deal is we're actually enforcing it now. Whereas before, we more or less, if you came by and filled out the permit, hey, thanks for doing that, we didn't actually go out and ask people to do it. So now that we're actually soliciting these forms and actually reviewing it, it is gonna feel a little more cumbersome.
So we can just come tonight and get a permit, and then we're,
I don't know why
Melissa will
Chamber of
have
Commerce
the
can't
names
do
and
it.
addresses of all the people.
He is the chamber,
Yeah.
he's the president.
Yeah.
That's what he
They're
said.
gonna-
Is there a difference between the special permit and the transient business license?
Transient business license is gonna require them to fill out a form, which chief can give you that form, you can get it, you can collect it with your application, and then you can submit them all at once if you wanna save your people a little bit of effort. That's what we've done, is just to try to streamline it, because we wanna keep our customers.
But I do know that in streamlining it, at least for me, you've streamlined the process and really congested my brain.
Make sure we get that on tape.
It is.
It's on video.
I think,
Is it better if they all came to you?
I think we're gonna discuss it. I
Okay.
said that I would come to the codes meeting Monday night so that we can try
And
to.
that's a public meeting,
Oh,
by
that's
the way.
right.
Yeah, because the item,
We all
send in every vendor that comes into town to 2 different places to
Yeah, I
fill
know.
out permits is
And I would
chasing
rather-
away businesses,
I
which
would
is
rather
what
not do that, but
we're trying to do.
I think we all need to kind of rein it in and then get on the same page.
Now, I wanna make sure I understand, because at the onset of this conversation, you said that if he has someone in front of his store,
No, he's in front of his store.
He's
okay, or if he has people in his store, what's the difference there? Or people have, like Outback has music, or people that come in there, or, pardon me?
I don't think that, they're not selling anything.
No, if they are selling, because there are vendors that come inside the store. Well, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like the odds and ends, but they have an agreement set up, so it really wouldn't be them. But he has vendors that come inside the store, and Outback, I think, from time to time, has people that sell jewelry or something in there, and, yeah, I don't know, I'm just asking.
But if they're inside the store,
me-
then it's on him to make sure sales tax is collected and that sort of
That's
stuff.
not, they're all independent contractors.
Yeah.
And that's a question
I
why we're on
can't
that.
control whether they pay taxes or not.
Stacy, do you
No
know,
one can.
while you're here, while our solicitor's here, this is a question that came up. It used to be you could go to a flea market and set up and nobody asked for anything. Is the burden on the promoters of these things to make sure that these people have sales tax license, do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. And who would you find out from?
One of my learned colleagues, I'm sure.
An attorney.
Because I go to shows now, they didn't used to have that. Now there's a form that you have to fill out.
Form for everything.
There's a form for every, I mean it, there's a form for everything. And you have to prove that it's the burden, and they tell me the burden's on them to show the state that all the vendors in their event has a sales tax license.
So just to muddy the water some more,
So that muddies the water a little bit.
Jerome has outside vendors who set up in his premises. He gives them space. Are those vendors then technically required to have a transient business permit?
I'd have to look at the ordinance. I don't know enough about his business to really answer that.
Inside his building,
Inside his building, there's,
then that would be the same way for,
But I'm not, they don't rent from me.
Well, see, that's kind of like the Arts Alliance, they
They're
have,
They have a person to collect money.
yeah, so it's not as.
yeah, let's just really muddy the waters, I know, Chief, I'm sorry.
I'm not collecting any money from the vendors. I'm not charging them any rent, I'm not collecting money from them. It's more or less there as a promotion for First Friday with our OMI event. So you'll have people that come in, and
Like artists,
if
we
they're
get a lot of art.
professionals, they probably have a sales tax number. But as far as I'm concerned, they're private contractors, so
When is the?
I pay my sales tax for what I sell. and-
First Fridays.
I'm actually
First
asking a
Friday.
question that doesn't have anything to do with sales
Oh,
tax.
May 7th.
May 7th, May 7th.
There's a flyer out.
talk
I'll
about.
be at the
Okay.
meeting. I'll come Monday night.
We need
I
to-
can get- I gotta clarify something. Donna, when OMI has a First Friday, do the vendors there have to give you the money for their transient business license, or is that covered underneath the umbrella of OMI being a nonprofit and those fees are waived?
Yes.
The transient business license application fee is waived for all of the OMI vendors, but we still have to collect the application.
Still have to do the application?
And so that would be two steps, two places for a potential vendor to go through, which is why we did have an arrangement, but it sounds like I may be losing it.
I would hope
You better come Monday night.
I mean, we
I'll
have
go.
to collect, we collect driver's license numbers, I mean, we're not messing around. I
Right.
mean, they know everything about our vendors, but at least it stops them from having to go schlepping all over town.
So, Chief, in the interest of, I mean, Jerome's up against a little bit of a wall with time on this. In the interest of helping these guys out, can we get him copies of the transit business license form, so he can have his people coming in, fill these out? He can then turn in the bulk information the way OMI does today, and we can get this process in place. And then we can revisit how the process is really working, whether it fits for you or the business owners in the long run. Is that something we can do?
Well, we can do that, but there's somewhat of a difference between what OMI is doing on a Friday night, because it's a special event, and the council agreed that because they charged a fee for those people to set up, that we would waive the $25 permit fee, so that we didn't drive business out, because if we charge them $50, they're not coming. The sidewalk sale has not been deemed to be a special event at this point, so if it's not a special event, then anybody who doesn't already have a business is a transient business, and therefore they need a $20 permit. So under the order.
According to the ordinance for special events, what dictates a special event?
Well, that's something else too, that I think has to be defined what's a special event.
I mean, this is a
Well,
fundraiser
it's
for a
defined,
nonprofit,
it's
it's a
defined.
fundraiser for a nonprofit.
You can come to
But is
Borough
it-
We
and pick up a
revert this
special
to
event.
codes for
Yeah.
Monday night, and,
Yeah.
we can hear we got a lot on the agenda. so,
Yeah.
And then the other thing I had, I was kind of upset last week that the library didn't get a waiver of the fee for their reading in the park. And I think that should be addressed. I mean, you have it's a free public library, everybody has access to it. We can all go there, business people, government people, and get things done free, and we can't waive a $40 fee.
I believe we asked to do that. I believe that was on,
A couple of
that
us
was,
did ask.
that was actually asked, and it was
Yeah.
voted down.
That's what I mean, and I'm really upset that it was voted down.
That makes two of us, because I'm the one who proposed it.
Three of us.
I wanna second
Put
it.
up another one. Yeah. And while we're on the
If you want to add
topic,
it to the agenda again, we can, I don't have an issue.
Yes.
But I think
All right.
you were
While we're-
mistaken on the fees. The fees, that fee schedule is different fee schedule. There is no, I think that fee, because Artie was talking about in finance, she read on the minutes that the fees are different this year. The one that, I think the one that was brought up is
And
different.
it needs to be updated on our official
It
Borough
is,
website.
it is on our website.
And
It
it needs
is.
to be updated, because I
It is.
read it verbatim
Well,
from our website last week. If the minutes that Artie's reading show different, then either my eyes are wrong, or that form is wrong.
the form is correct on the website, Randy, it's updated.
Right,
And
not
I think
arguing.
what, I think what we were discussing was something different. And I'd also, since we're talking about, it, I'd like to suggest, because it's very hard for us to do the minutes, I'd like to suggest one person talk at a time.
We need to move this to the agenda, if we wanna discuss
Yeah.
this again, thanks for bringing that up. If you guys wanna add it to the agenda, we can.
Yes.
Well, whatever charge there is for the for anybody renting the park, there is no money that's given back anymore. We did make a new resolution, there is no money that's given back now. So whatever they pay is kept.
It would have been a $50 fee, 2 events, $50 fee, it's $100.
And then we can get it back, yes. And I
Steve, you
did
had your
talk
hand
to them.
up back there.
We had discussed, having a monthly report from us on where we're going. We can give you that report verbally, or, we can give it to you next month.
Please identify your.
Oh, I'm Steve Cruz. Working on the, parking facility. So it's, up to council's pleasure. If you want a quick report, we can do it in
Sure.
just a minute or two. Thank you. We've been gathering supporting documents for the grant applications and developing content. We met on the 11th of March with Representative Lawrence and 16 other members of the community to garner more support. And we're meeting with the Chester County Economic Development Corporation on April 5th, again, for their support and the county support. And Representative Lawrence is he's setting up meetings at the federal level, federal contacts for the federal grants that we're going after. One thing that Borough Council can be doing right now is working on the building height ordinance and making that change. That's something that you guys can do.
I've already given that to our zoning officer.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Pauline can fill you in on any details here.
Oh, thanks. Pauline Garcia, Allied with Econ Partners. The meeting on Friday was very helpful, and as an example of the many wonderful things that OMI does for Oxford, Donna was pivotal in putting that meeting together very, very quickly. So I want to thank her for that. Steve had mentioned how it's been a catalyst for re-engaging John Lawrence, and he is really excited and off and running again, trying to work on some of that stakeholder support that we will need. You may already know that the Chester County Community Revitalization Program opened on Monday. So now we're working on 2 active grant applications for the project. And I will follow up with you, Betsy, on some of the inclusions that we'll need for that. So we're kind of chugging along in those different areas. I think you already covered.
And just tonight, there's one item for discussion
Yes.
on the property.
Yeah, so part of what I've learned through the process is kind of where we are in terms of actual site control. And before we can actually submit any applications, we do need to show that the borough has control of the site, and that agreement needs to be officially memorialized in one way or another. So.
Thank you. Yep.
When you mentioned the 16 members of the community that met with John Lawrence, were they Oxford
It was,
businesses and residents?
it was actually the OMI Economic Development Committee. That was who was requested to be there.
Well, you'll also send us something, but it's a little late.
Well, I was told to invite the economic development. Actually, we were inviting Pauline to come to our committee meeting. John Lawrence found out that we were inviting Pauline to the committee meeting, and he said, no, we would need to do this right now. He wasn't waiting until
We
tomorrow.
were working on
He
2
wanted
separate
it
meetings,
now.
one with John Lawrence and then one with, and they
So-
kind of got combined together, but which was good in the long run.
It was sort of last minute and thrown together, but it was supposed to be just OMI's economic development, which is many members of the
Right.
community. I mean,
Thank
we
you.
have about 20 members of that.
And they're not
Several
all
of them.
residents of the borough, but they're either residents or
Businesses.
business
Business
owners
owners.
or
Business owners,
are
yeah.
involved in the fringe around Oxford.
Correct.
They're very interested in Oxford's success.
And Mary Frances McGarity from CCEDC also attended that.
That's right.
Thank you.
She was a guest of John Lawrence.
Sorry, Jeremy, you didn't have anything else to do. Any other public comments? If not, we will move to agenda adoption.
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
Second that.
We have room for more additions?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. We have, first thing I wanted to, we need an executive session to discuss property. And I wanted to move that, after business carried forward and right before new items of business.
Yeah, we have that on new items, but you don't want it there, do you? You want it on executive session, we have it as A on,
I'd like to discuss it in executive session first,
Yeah.
and then come out with
Okay.
what the council is comfortable, and they can
Okay.
proceed with the item on the agenda.
all right.
So we'll do that at the top of the page.
So what are we doing again? I'm sorry.
We'll move an executive session to basically the top of page 3.
37A.
Also, in that executive
Not
session,
one.
I'd like to give you an update on some pending litigation in Oxford Borough versus the zoning hearing board
We
and
can
the
do
bar.
that
We can do that
at
at
the
the
same
same time.
time. So we'll have 2 items there for executive session.
Oxford Borough,
Versus your zoning hearing board, and Mr. and Mrs. Bard, B-A-R-D.
And then also the property. Rebecca, you have some additions?
Yes, does anybody else have any? Because I got all
I
this.
have one.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess G on your item in new business is a special event permit. The sponsoring event is the Bog Turtle Brew, requesting a special event permit to be approved.
And under discussion items, I'd like to put, A, family promise, and B, the library event.
You have the discussion item. C, I wanna, talk about where we are with the sidewalks in the park.
Ready for me? John's not.
Go ahead.
All right, well,
what category?
just about all of them. We have to add the hard review in new items of business, H. Hard review,
New items of business?
yes, and it's
Is
H.
it G or H?
H.
His event was G, and yours event was G.
And
No.
for, and I think, Ron took care of the other thing. And then we have to add, authorization to advertise speed limit and sledding ordinance. That would also be in the new items of business under H.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I, yes.
The ordinance for,
Authorization to advertise speed limit and sledding ordinance.
Sweating or sweating?
Either one, sledding and sweating and, yeah. And, under new items of business, this would be J, would be a change order for Wheeler. And
what
under,
was I there on this?
That was authorization for speed limits and
Oh,
sledding.
that was under.
and K under new items is, a water department purchase order. And I think that's it, but let me check. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Any other additions? Okay, we have a motion to adopt the agenda. We have 9 changes or additions. All in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is carried forward, police and public, or the police policy manual.
Keep it on the agenda, please.
Okay. The iPads, we still are waiting on that.
Yeah, we're waiting on them to get us to be able to get through to them
The
to get the
official,
itemized, yes. Now that we've
itemized.
set it up, yes.
Okay, item C, the purchase order for the tobacco.
Actually,
Yeah.
C and D, I'm thinking with the finance, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to discuss that? Because I don't know if you got the email that I sent you.
I got it.
Yeah,
We were just concerned because it was, you know, we're talking like $250,000,
yes.
and, it was, any thought of looking at other places? Does it have to be through
Did
CoStarz?
you, yes, it does,
No
yes.
No matter what?
Oh, no.
And CoStarz is gonna be your best price
Yeah,
for that.
it's going to be,
It doesn't
yes,
matter.
and, yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
Otherwise, you'll have to bid it out and you will not get a bet, CoStarz gives you a better price. And so, and I sent email out to you and Randy and Gary and Sue, but the rest of them I didn't, so, I don't know how much to catch you up with, but, we did go to Public Works, cause Ron had asked today, we did go to Public Works and Gary knew that and Sue knew that, and But, Ron had asked if we went to Public Works, so we did go to the Public Works Committee, and then, Randy had said that John could talk to Artie about where the money would come from.
I
It's coming
think
from.
John told me he was gonna talk to Artie about it.
Yes, so, it's coming from two different departments, streets and water, because those items are used in both of those departments. What John does is what he typically does, we have a procurement procedure, I can't say that, procurement procedure, thank you. And that typically involves going to CoStarz, because that is the better, just like the chief will go to CoStarz or Cars. And we went to a couple of different places that John is familiar with, and we've gone and gotten equipment from them before. And that was what happened, and the cheapest prices turned out to be what is on the purchase orders that everybody should have, still have a copy of. So that was, if there's any other questions, let me know. I think it was just maybe you were asking if there wasn't anything cheaper, and he went to all of them. He is trading in, and I'm surprised they took $10,000 off for the backhoe, but they did, because that backhoe's really shot, and so is the, and so's the truck. But, he's, trading that in,
You trading the truck in as well?
trading the backhoe in, not the truck. They're
The truck
just gonna
will go
sell
to
it
auction.
outright, yes, yes. So, is there any other questions that we need?
What's wrong with the dump truck?
The dump truck shop too. The dump truck, and I think it's misleading, I think someone mentioned that it only had 26,000 miles. But that's 26,000 hard running miles. That's not, just driving to the grocery store and back. That's snow plowing, it's loading up,
Salt's a big thing.
yeah. And then the
It's
salt
intense.
damages it. You went down there today, didn't you?
I did, yeah, because I didn't even really know what a backhoe looked like, so I thought before I got into this discussion, I better go get educated.
But yeah, so it's in terrible shape. There are the salt does a lot of damage. So,
Well, you discussed this in Public Works, correct?
yeah.
I mean, with
Yeah, I
regards
should
to
probably
the
let
truck,
Randy.
I mean, with the backhoe, John had told me they've welded floors in this thing twice already. The
I saw
floors
that.
are rusted out. With regards to the truck, would it help if John would provide you guys like a list of all the repairs that have been
Well,
done?
this is,
Oh, we got that?
this is a list of, my concerns is, if the international dump truck, only 26,000 miles on it,
That-
the next truck up, which would be, let's just say, they do snow plowing at 450, that has 70,000 miles on it. Are we gonna be
Yeah,
replacing
and
that
that's-
soon, or
Yeah.
is, these, see, caps, we got 89. That's a good jump.
Yeah, mileage is misleading, John, if you're looking
No,
at
I'm just
these.
saying, I mean,
Yes,
I'm just,
I got
if
you.
you're saying 26,000 miles and it's been, it's
Mhm.
done a lot of snow plowing and stuff, I'm just worried, I'm looking up here for other trucks that have 32,000 miles on it, 23,000
I don't know if
miles.
it's the
Yeah, but
same
look,
kind
they're
of,
pickup trucks.
yeah.
I know, but there's other dump trucks, did we buy a dump truck not too long ago?
Yes, we did, yes,
That
we
should be
did.
the
Yeah, the
2000
But we need-
2009.
international.
We need 3 dump trucks in order to do the borough. And if we don't have 3 dump trucks, we can't do it, and we have an agreement that we signed with PennDOT, it's a necessity. I mean, we have to have 3 dump trucks in order to do this entire borough, and it's a wonder they can do it with the 3.
Does John have a list of all the repairs been done on that 1990?
He does, but I don't know why
Can we, I'm just,
I don't
if
wanna
we can
hold
provide
off if we
that,
can avoid holding off, because
agreed, but
it's gonna take so long to get it as it is,
I think
especially
if we
the
can
truck.
provide that to take any question away on the need, that would probably help out. I'm not denying the need, please don't take it that way, I'm not denying the need.
Oh, I don't mind, but John will mind,
I
yeah.
think that just by saying, look at all the repairs we've had on this, we spent X amount of dollars on it in the last year to keep it running, that will just take any question out of the equation.
Yeah,
And we can move forward.
What repairs does it need?
Yeah, I mean, is that unreasonable?
Well, I guess
Well, I think John has relayed that,
I
you know.
think that John was at Public Works.
Mhm.
He relayed, and I thought by the time we got the invoice or the PO, that the Public Works Committee would have said, okay, we're giving you this PO because we're convinced by John that we need this. So,
I take the man's word for it,
and
but
I do too, because I trust him.
Yeah.
I'm sensing some
Yeah,
resistance, and to me, I'm trying to quell that resistance by saying, can we just provide the list of everything we need, and then there's no resistance ever again on it, and we can move forward.
I don't know.
I support the need for it.
Right.
Well, can we at least vote on it?
The only thing I'm not
depending
seeing
on
here on the-
that you're satisfied with the need? I mean, with the
I'm satisfied with the
repairs?
need, if John says we need it, and Artie says we have the money,
Yeah,
the only thing I'm not seeing here, last week there were 3 POs, one for the, this is.
one's for the body, one's for
This is
the,
the body, and we have the backhoe,
Yeah.
but I'm not seeing for the truck.
Yeah, the third one's not on
it's
there.
on the, it's here, they're all here.
Okay, we'll have to
It's
get
probably
that
right,
number.
no, I have them right here.
But they're not
It's
listed
on the
here.
agenda.
Well, they're, everybody, I don't know, well, they're probably not listed on the agenda, Linda did say she
2 of them
got.
are, 1 of them is not.
Yeah, well, I think we can remedy that by just throwing.
Also, like, talk to them and tell me, like, future, what trucks are next that need to be replaced? So we know ahead of time.
Well, I think that's something we would do to Public Works, yeah.
I think we need to
But I
know.
think I think John is concerned because he went to Public Works and he did it, and and Randy has said that, I mean, he went there and he did it in the manner he was supposed to do, and the next thing was for Randy to recommend it to council, which it was, and he had the purchase orders, so I guess John's concerned it's taking so long to get these 2 pieces of equipment that they really need. And he has done it this way, and we're asking, and I was just explaining to you what the Co-Stars program and all of that is. I mean, I hate to see it held up yet again, because it's gonna take,
I would
How
hate to
long's
see
it gonna
John,
take?
hang on, I would hate to see John think we're holding it up.
Yes.
We just got the POs last week. So let's make sure that's known. It said, I don't want John thinking that this has been sitting there for 2 months. It's been sitting there for
John
a week
knows,
since
we
we got
had
the
a
PO.
discussion on this today,
I
Randy.
understand,
Okay,
but we got
hold on,
the POs
hold-
last week.
Yeah, but I think it was his understanding, if you were taking the POs, that was the same as a recommendation from
I
committee.
can recommend that council does something.
I know
I
that.
can't dictate to council that they do something.
I don't think it
There
was.
has been
Okay, hold on, hold
pushback
on.
last week, hang on, Ron, let me finish what I'm saying. There's been pushback last week that it needed to go to finance. Finance committee
Yeah.
met on it. It is back on our agenda right now. I sense there's pushback over here from finance again. I'm
We had
asking to
questions for
provide
Artie,
them
and
what
Artie
they want.
didn't know the answer. One was that,
Have I not answered
yeah,
that? Oh, yeah.
Artie did Betsy did answer the Co-Stars issue, and we did get a list of all the vehicles on here that are
Yeah.
the mileage, and, I'd like to know what's next on the order, because,
I know, but I don't think that should hold
yeah, I
on
know, I'm
this.
just saying,
I don't
but seeing
know.
this list kinda gives me concern.
And that would
but-
certainly pass on, and Randy has it, yeah.
And
that's
I'll
why I
say-
know
Did
that.
he
You
come to
guys
you
have
though
always-
with the money?
He came to me saying we needed it.
Didn't
The
give you
first
any,
time I saw the POs was last week,
see, that's the thing, like,
so.
Well, he checked with Artie about the money.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think we need to trust our employees, we need to trust our committees.
Not denying
If
that.
our committees said.
And I'm saying now, if John can speak for finance committee that they've got no issues, then let's move forward, let's get this stuff
my
done.
one concern was because I didn't know where the money was coming from, and Artie sat down with us and showed us, I mean, it's coming out of the capital fund, which is, that's what it's there for.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
I mean.
I make a motion that we,
Oh,
There we
can
go.
I do that?
Yeah.
It's,
yes, you can.
I make a motion that we approve purchase order number 020587 to AG Industrial Incorporated in New Holland for a B95C backhoe at the price of $77,503.90.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then, can we do the other 2 together?
Yeah.
But we need that one.
But you need
I
to
make a
list
motion
it.
that we reopen the agenda to add an additional PO for the truck bill.
Do you want that number?
Like, we need to open the
numbers?
agenda first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor, we have a motion
I
and a second.
second that.
I second
All in favor of opening the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Go ahead, Betsy, what's that number?
That number is 020584 in the amount of $98,821. That's hard for me to say.
Payable to Intercom?
No.
5-Star International LLC, yeah.
Okay, I would like to add an item to the agenda, if we can call it D2. PO 020584 in the amount of $98,821 to Five Star International for the truck.
I second that
There's a
motion.
motion and a second to add the PO to the agenda. Any discussion?
Just had one question, I
Yeah.
guess. For the public that's not here, should there be any indication where the funds are coming from, so one doesn't perceive that it's coming out of taxpayer money?
Well, some of this, the money in the capital fund
It
is,
is, but it's not coming out of.
it's not all coming out of the capital
It's
fund.
not coming out of
No,
the
it's-
current budget.
Right.
To clarify, it's coming out of the water fund and out of the streets fund, because they will be used for both departments.
Out of the capital budget.
Yes,
The capital funds, and not out of their operating budget.
no,
And
That's
then,
what I'm just,
I'm sorry.
and part of it, is there any of that, gift money, this is all capital fund?
Yeah, it's all capital and water fund, capital fund and water fund, correct?
Yeah.
And the equipment is used for the residents and boroughs and,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and businesses of the borough.
I think us discussing this is better than just saying approve.
Oh, yeah.
I think
yeah.
we need not just to
Yeah.
sit here and spend $250,000,
Yeah.
$200,000 and just
Yeah,
do it as a
I-
whim.
Yeah,
I think it's something that, needed to be discussed. I think, like next time we're to come to finance before it comes to council, it's not amount of money that much.
absolutely.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
But I made my comment in response to what the mayor said about, are the taxpayers paying for it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
they-
the purchase is for the taxpayers.
But I guess my concern is if somebody reads it, they're gonna wonder whether it's coming out of the general fund that could ultimately affect their
Their taxes for this year?
Well, it's
No.
coming out of a capital fund that
Right.
was set up to cover these costs, I'm just
Right.
suggesting that.
Yeah.
good point, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
The
good
only thing I
point.
suggest is
Yeah.
if you take this next Public Works and ask him what is next due.
Absolutely.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to put this on the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now I need a motion to close, or
Make a motion to close the agenda.
Second.
a motion and a second to close the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I think we can pass these two POs together.
I would like to make a motion that we accept PO number 020584 in the amount of $98,821 payable to Five Star International for a dump truck, as well as PO number 020585 to Intercon Truck Equipment in the amount of $60,930 for the build of that truck once we have it.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item E,
I'm never gonna miss another meeting. Just confused everything, sorry.
item E, ordinance amending code height for adoption today.
Make a motion, we, the ordinance for amending curb heights,
Like, this is a ordinance, so it's a hearing.
doesn't it, set for,
Except for adoption,
For
you
adoption.
need to go into a hearing, that's a hearing.
yeah, I'm thinking it's for advertising, I'm sorry.
So at this time, we will open a public hearing for the ordinance amending curb height. Any comments from the public? If not, we'll close the public hearing and reconvene the council meeting and open this up, or no, at this point, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the ordinance amending curb heights.
Second that.
There's a motion and second to adopt the ordinance amending curb heights. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item F, Sue's not here, did anybody have anything on that?
It's in our, I think it's in our packet.
From last week?
No, this is this week.
Oh, maybe it is, yeah.
Chapter 15, motor vehicle and traffic, part 4, stopping, standing, parking, revised section 405. Certain vehicles prohibited in certain locations read as follows. Overnight parking of certain vehicles on streets. And it gives you the, any truck. The dimensions of a vehicle that.
That's pretty bad. I know,
I
I'm
know
drawing a
what this
blank
is.
too, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This isn't
look
ready to
over
go
this.
anywhere.
I have some issues with this
Yeah,
one.
why don't we,
I'd
Look
like to
over,
actually look at it, if that's okay.
what's that?
I'd like to look at it.
yeah,
I mean, I have a vehicle that violates most of these.
Yes, you do.
And it could be considered it could also be considered a passenger vehicle.
Yeah,
Um,
Chief, you wanna weigh in on that?
Do we know what the impetus is behind this?
Without sitting here, I
To
don't.
keep
yeah,
Commercial vehicles off.
right, it was a
Or
truck that
bigger-
was parked there,
right.
huge,
Yeah.
van or something, I mean, a huge.
Well, there
Oh,
was a
back
tractor
here
trailer.
on South, or on Market. Yes,
And
yeah,
there was one on South Street that was
Yeah,
a tractor
that's
trailer
true,
that parked
yeah.
there over 19
yeah,
times.
that's right, that's what it was
And,
originally, it's been a while, yes. But you wanna table this for next month? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can have it there, but read that last part.
Could you
Yeah,
ask
I
code
don't
or somebody to
You're
send
leaving
it to me?
for an event.
Yes, I will.
Please, thank you.
Can you put your,
Right.
I don't like the way it reads.
That might be good for a homeowners association, but not.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I can understand
Yeah, this is just from David.
in excess of
From
2
David.
hours.
we had a
I
tractor
don't-
trailer that was parked
It's
on
not
South
ready
Street.
yet for whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Okay, Federal Housing Act ordinance, permission to advertise.
And that's what, we just need a permission to advertise. I don't know, Stacy, if you wanna add to that.
You've seen this ordinance, I believe. This was one, we were in communication with the county solicitor's office, they were reviewing all of your zoning and subdivision regulations and suggested certain amendments to under the Fair Housing Act. We worked on those with your codes committee. That is what is before you tonight, it's now ready. It has been sent to the county for their 247 review, which you authorized previously, and it's now ready to advertise for adoption.
I make a motion, we advertise, the Federal Housing Act ordinance.
second,
We have a motion to adopt the Federal Housing Act ordinance. Any discussion?
Advertise.
Authorize.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
advertise.
Advertise.
I was backwards in the first one.
What's that? We have a motion to advertise, yes. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Will you advertise that?
Got it.
The rental property disruptive conduct report.
Mayor.
Yes, at the last council meeting, there was quite a discussion about disruptive conduct and reports that need to be followed. I did indicate that I'll provide the council a draft of a report that would be completed after either a police officer or the codes enforcement officer investigates an incident and determines that it qualifies as disruptive conduct.
Thanks.
It will show the location, the number of persons involved, the names and addresses of anybody involved, description of the incident, a question as to whether there were any arrests made, and if so, who was arrested, and then the signature of the person completing the form and the date the form was forwarded to codes. And attached to that is a section of the code talking about disruptive conduct in residential properties. And I guess my interpretation of the code is that if the police are called and their judgment, disruptive behavior, conduct has not occurred, the ordinance does not require the filing of a written report. However, in order to make sure that we can keep on file those reports, here's the draft. The ordinance talks about a report, but there is no report that's made part of that. So this is what I'm proposing, I shared it with the chief. He has indicated his approval of this report. So if an officer goes out to investigate an incident and in his or her opinion, they believe that disruptive conduct has occurred based on the definition of the ordinance, then this report will be completed and forwarded to codes.
Gene, I have a question. Okay, my question is, if they're being called out, is that not enough to say that there's disruptive conduct? Because what's happening here is if we don't get reports, then, you know, this people, you can continue to be called out, that happened
The
before.
ordinance talks about the disruptive conduct, what it is, and if the officer and or the code enforcement officer investigates and determine that the behavior meets the disruptive conduct as indicated in the ordinance, then a report would be concluded. If the officers get a call and they go out and determine that there's been no disruptive conduct that occurs according to the ordinance, so it's my interpretation that that report doesn't have to be completed.
But that's not what it says.
Yeah,
Where it says disruptive conduct report, it says a written report of disruptive conduct on a form to be prescribed therefore, to be completed by the code enforcement officer or police, as the case may be, who investigates an alleged incident. Doesn't mean that they say that it
Peggy,
was.
go on and read the procedure. When a police officer or code enforcement officer investigates an alleged incident of disruptive conduct, he or she shall complete a report upon finding that the reported incident did, in his or her judgment, constitute disruptive conduct as defined herein. So if they're called.
I guess that's a conflict then in there.
Appears to be a conflict.
Yeah.
But at any rate, this is the report that we're recommending that the police and or the codes department uses every time they go out and investigate disruptive conduct.
Is there any way at least we can work, because we get, we get police officers and coming in to ask us addresses and all of that, so they can do what they have to do too. But is there not some way you can speak with them and encourage them to, if there's, to just explain this whole thing to them? And, so they might err on the side of caution rather than, just,
We've had that discussion recently.
mhm.
And I think.
Did we get a report for the last thing? Because, with Doherty with the 40 people.
All right, and what I'd like to do, if I may, I'd just like to read to council a description of the incident that occurred on March 9th, 2016, at approximately 6 p.m. Borough police officers assisted by an officer from West Nottingham Township were in the process of executing an arrest warrant on a non-compliant subject in the vicinity of 420 Market Street, when a crowd of approximately 30 people, both adults and children, gathered in the area. Once the subject of the arrest was subdued and secured and the officers were attempting to disperse the crowd, a fight involving 2 to 3 family members broke out inside the rear ground floor apartment of the building. Officers were greeted at the entrance to the building by a resident and relative of subjects involved in the fight, who advised the fight was broken up by another family member and that everything was okay. Officers observed 20-plus people, including children, in or around the rear lawn area of the property, and were advised by the resident that all of them lived in the building and that all of them were related. At no time was there a disturbance involving a larger group, and more specifically, at no time was there a near-riot situation involving approximately 40 people. Both the codes department and the landlord were advised of the incident, and the number of people appearing to be residing in the building.
So did we get that report? Was that the answer? We got the report?
It's my understanding that the codes department.
The officer came down.
I mean, did we get I'm just saying, did we get I know we didn't have the form then, I'm sorry. But did we get a police report then? That's what we need, something.
The officer came down and spoke with Mary.
Yeah, yeah.
And got a copy of the tenant registration form, which shows that there are 5 apartments with 7 tenants. The officer gave Mary the information of what he observed, and he also then called the landlord and advised him of the issues, which is something that we have done many times in the past. And that the landlord was going to make contact with the building residents that day and get rid of whoever wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, thank you. But my question is still, did we get a report from you?
You got a verbal report to Mary
Well, that won't, I don't think that'll work in court. We have to have a written report. If we proceed with that, we'd have to have, I mean, it would have to go, if it went to
If
court,
it goes to court,
Some
we need a,
document.
yeah,
investigation.
yeah, not a verbal. That's my only thing.
What are we going to court for?
Well,
If
if
one-
we
I
have the, what do you call it? I always get it confused. The disruptive conduct, yeah. We have an ordinance on disruptive conduct, so many calls out there, we can take them to court, we can fine them, and we also, you know, fine the property owner. So that's what I'm saying, we need a written report,
Well,
so,
I think that's what this attempts to,
well, I know, but I mean, we need that from that incident, just so we can, we know who it is, I'm not so sure.
Is this report being given to codes?
That's what I'm saying.
That would be
Yeah.
easy.
I mean, that would be-
I don't know if this report, the chief provided this to me.
Well,
indicating that
We
the
need that,
codes
yeah,
department
so you can just give me a copy of it, right?
Yeah, okay, if that goes
It's
to
gonna be signed.
codes, then that's
Gotta be
clear.
signed by whoever filled it out.
Yeah, so just sign it and give me a copy of it, so we can put that in their file, because we have other issues with him, so, with that property owner, so and you probably know that anyhow, but we can move forward with it if we have that, that's part of what we'll need if we go to court.
Make a motion that we accept the format of the disruptive conduct report for future incidents of disruptive conduct.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion?
Is it necessary to have what identification was used to confirm the address of the person, like whether it was a driver's license or whether they just verbally said what their address was? When they,
It's gonna be the
when they
address you're
fill
at.
out this report,
We know
should
that.
we write down like whether it was a Pennsylvania ID, a Maryland ID,
But that's the
or?
problem we're having.
No, and I'll tell you why. First
Okay.
of all,
That's terrible.
the police officer gets any identification and identifying information he needs to effect whatever action he's going to effect. And while I have approved this report, this is yet just another piece of paper that the cops gotta fill out on top of everything else they have to fill out. So we will provide the information that's necessary to meet what the ordinance requires.
Okay, so then if it went further, then all we would have to do is go back to the officer's report, and all of that would be detailed in the officer's report, is that right?
Any information that pertains to the incident, as long as the investigation is completed. We're not gonna give you information on an investigation that hasn't made its way through the system. We
No,
will
I'm not
provide
talking
that
about me.
information after the fact.
Right, I'm talking about like if the attorney, not you, but if the attorney wanted to know what identification was seen to confirm that John Doe did in fact live on 3rd Street in Oxford, Pennsylvania.
They would have that information anyway.
That would be in the police report then. The police report would say, and of course the attorney could get that could get that information, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
The procedure,
Okay,
the
good.
procedure in the code, Peggy, says if possible, the identity and identities of the alleged perpetrators of the disruptive conduct and any other obtainable information, including the factual basis of the conduct. So all we need to do is get their identities and identify who they are.
To the extent I'm gonna be asked to ever enforce this ordinance, can I see a copy of that report
Sure. You can have it.
There you go,
Yeah.
like that?
that you've approved as the form that you, thank you.
All right, we do have a motion on the floor to, approve that report, can you amend that to have our solicitors rubber stamp on
pending,
it?
pending.
Can you look at it now?
Not hard.
Pending our solicitors approval.
No, sir, I will not do that here.
Or do you wanna withdraw your motion?
Take it.
So what?
I withdraw my motion.
Oh,
Do we have another motion, or do we wanna wait till Stacy gets back to us on that?
We can approve
Oh, well,
pending
that
Stacy's
doesn't
approval.
count,
That's fine.
because it's a
That's why we
non-resident,
do
right? Does
Alright,
it show
Okay.
where?
I'll make a motion that we approve
I know, but
the
does that show?
disruptive ordinance report pending, our solicitor's approval.
Second that.
No, not
There's a
that.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not all in
Yeah.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Hershey, I have one more thing. I just realized that we advertised your fee in lieu of ordinance for tonight, and that despite the 4 versions of the agenda that I looked at, it's not on there.
Oh, boy.
So it has been advertised. You authorized the advertising back in February. If you're not prepared, which I don't imagine you have in front of you, to adopt it tonight, we can open the hearing and continue it to a date certain in April at your next meeting. Otherwise, I have to run a new notice since it's a zoning
So we
subdivision
can
amendment, so
open
I'm
the-
not sure what
We
happened.
can open the hearing and then table it from that point.
That is correct.
So we need to add that to the, we have to open the agenda.
Sorry,
Make
yeah,
a
I was
motion
just
we
going
open
through
the
my
agenda.
stack and somehow we missed.
All right.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to open the agenda again.
This month.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we need to add item
It will be,
I, right?
wait, who made the motion and who seconded it?
John's motion, Randy second.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
and I'd ask that you
We have
withdraw.
item I, and that would be the,
It's an ordinance amending the subdivision land development ordinance regarding open space fee in lieu for non-residential development applications, and just allow the minutes to reflect this, but we're writing it down. And amending the existing borough zoning ordinance regarding the definition of principal use.
Yeah, right fast.
okay, we'll add that to the, item I of the agenda. Now I need to, a motion to close the agenda again.
Make a motion to close the agenda.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to close the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, item I. We have an ordinance. This requires a public hearing. We will open the public hearing at this time. Is there any public comment?
This is an ordinance that you have seen several times over the last 6 months. It's the one where you originally had the fee in lieu of set within the text of the ordinance. We then decided to remove it so that every time you change the fee, you don't have to amend the ordinance, you can just adopt that by resolution. So that was back in the fall. But because we did the amendment again, we had to re-247 it with the county. County's come back and blessed it again. We re-advertised it then. So that is scheduled for tonight. I know you don't have it in front of you. I can make a copy of it if you want, or we can just continue it on the record to April 11th, which is your
That sounds good.
Do you want
next
to keep-
meeting. There's no
do you-
urgency to it.
I'll make a motion, we continue.
Do we need a motion, or did I just,
There'd be a motion to continue the hearing until April
okay, the
11th at
hearing's
7 p.m.
open, and
I'll make a motion, we continue the hearing until April 11th,
Second that.
At 7 p.m.
at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to continue the hearing on the ordinance for the open space in lieu of. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we go into executive session to discuss 2 items. One for property and the other for the borough versus the zoning hearing board litigation. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we go into executive session to discuss.
A motion and a second to go in executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Yeah,
Opposed?
since it's not about us.
Okay, we came out of executive session at 8:28. No decisions were made. However, we have some exciting news, especially since the press is here. We have an agreement of sale with Nat Penn for the parking lot. And I'll let Stacy read the deal.
Run through the highlights. So it's an agreement of sale that is being circulated among both the Net Pen board, or whoever would be signing off, and then council. It provides for the purchase of 2 properties, 0.506 acres and 0.27 acres, which are both parking lots for the use as a potential parking garage. The purchase price is $1. The additional consideration is that the buyer shall reserve for the seller's use, for a use of any successor by merger or acquisition of seller, 40 parking spaces in a planned municipal parking facility expected to be built by buyer on the premises for a period of 25 years from the date of completion, as evidenced by a long-term lease or other appropriate documentation. There is also a 7-year reverter clause in the agreement of sale in the event that the borough does not proceed with submission of an application for a permit or approval for such use within that 7-year period. If council is so inclined to proceed, my recommendation is that you make a motion to approve the agreement of sale, subject to receiving a signed agreement of sale from that Penn Bank. And also, my recommendation is that you authorize me to obtain a phase 1 environmental study on the parcels as part of your due diligence period under the agreement of sale.
So moved.
So,
I'm making a motion what you said.
okay, we have a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this agreement as stated by our solicitor. I just, as far as the discussion, I want to say this is, Betsy has worked on this for how many years? 10 at least?
14.
Who's
counting?
So, this is exciting news and will help us a long way in moving forward on a parking structure. I'm glad that I could be part of the council that did this. I just think it's pretty exciting for us, so.
Yes.
Any other comments or discussion?
I echo your comments. I'm excited for it and looking forward to seeing the borough grow.
All right, any other discussion? If not, we have a motion. All in favor of the agreement of sale with Nat Penn and Council Borough, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All
Thank
right. Is there anything else we need to do for Stacy?
For me, I believe there was one more ordinance you had under new items,
Okay,
Yeah.
which I can stay for, or you can jump to, whichever you prefer.
we'll get down to that.
You do not have to change your ordinance again for me.
Okay, item B, quotation from signal service.
Yeah, I think everybody has that. It's in the amount of $3,624.79. And I think everybody's got pictures and everything to see that. And this is one of the problems, well, could be one of the problems with the intersection. Chief, you have that too, Chief? Did you get that too? This quotation and a picture up at the intersection, okay. Well, we had talked about the intersection being a problem and the lights and all of that, and this could be part of that problem too, so. We have this is what they have detected. If anybody has any questions, if you don't wanna approve it tonight, you can wait till next time if you wanna absorb it and, see if you have any more questions. I don't wanna push you. But, I'm recommending and John is recommending that we get this work done.
So if it's not working, they just wait longer?
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
also,
right.
the intersection is currently operating on a recall mode in violation of the
Yeah.
PennDOT permit and condition
So
diagram.
then I gotta ask you.
So it's gotta be
Yeah,
done.
it's not done. Yeah, it does have to be done, but I know I don't wanna push anybody with anything.
So I gotta ask the dumb question.
Yeah.
So we're in violation of a PennDOT regulation?
Yeah.
Because PennDOT hasn't come out to repair the road that they own?
Yep.
Isn't that a little bit of a conflict?
Maybe, but
But, yeah,
I'm just wondering.
but in that case, it's our responsibility because it's our stuff underneath there, yeah. You
No.
have anything to say to that?
I will say that,
You met with
I
what's,
met with a guy,
yeah. Otten or, no, not Otten,
Paul Lutz,
yeah, Lutz.
on February 25th, and we stood up there at the intersection for quite some time to watch traffic go by, and he indicated to me that based on the geography and geometry of that particular intersection, there was really nothing PennDOT could do or would do as to the timing of the lights, the way they are timed now, and the way the cross traffic, the crosswalks are timed. I know you have brought up issues in the past across the streets. However, there is actually more time than what you would think, because you have 17 seconds to say get across Market Street, but you also have an additional 5 seconds while things start to re-loop. The bottom line is, he told me that the way that the intersection is configured and engineered is the way it has to be. And it's not even a situation where, although they would like to, they can't even time it so that Hodson Street has a green light at the same time South Third Street does on Market Street. So we sat there, we discussed all that, we went all through it, we timed the traffic as it went through, and I thought that was the end of it, and then, I believe, whatever day that was, I came back either the next day or the following Monday, and there's signal service there, working on the intersection. I'm thinking, did I miss something along the line? But,
They were doing their yearly maintenance on everything.
yeah.
So, right now, with it working the way it is, in other words, some of that is activated by whether there's a car there or not. And so with this loop not working, you're setting, it runs through its whole cycle every time,
It runs.
whether there's cars there or not.
That's possible, but that might also, do they say how long it's not been working? Or they don't really know?
I don't think, no, they didn't mention that here that I can see. No.
That might also be one of the reasons why we have seen an increase in the number of cars that actually get stopped in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
Because one light is still green and one light turns red, and then they don't know what to do.
So it's gotta be fixed.
It's gotta be
Yeah,
fixed.
it does have
I
to be
mean, we
fixed, I
don't
just
really-
didn't know if anybody would.
And this isn't something you bid out, this is something we have
Yeah, like,
something already in
signal
place.
service will do
Signal
that, and
service.
this is what they're, on the other side, this is what they're saying. There's an email and a quote for that, it's in the amount of $36.74.79.
What's the annual cost to maintain the cameras versus the loops? Do they know?
They have a yearly maintenance agreement.
And this would fall under that?
No, we would have to pay extra for this because there's damage there, so we have to pay extra.
The maintenance
No, I mean,
agreement.
I know
if we were to install the cameras as they're suggesting,
They would, yeah,
would those fall underneath the yearly maintenance?
no, no.
Or they may up their yearly maintenance.
This is above the yearly maintenance agreement, which I think was, I'm not sure, 5,000 or 7,000.
I think it's 7,000.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
We're
not
not-
so much.
We're not saying the cost of the camera, I'm saying,
No,
so
yeah.
would they have to give us a new maintenance contract?
No, this is their quote, they came out, they did the preventive maintenance, and that's covered under our, going out and doing the review. This is separate from that.
I'm saying
But
further.
wait, what they're saying is, now, once the cameras are installed, we pay this.
Yeah.
When they come out to check things under the maintenance, those cameras will be checked, correct?
I'm just saying-
I would confirm whether, but I'm guessing that that is
And that's part of what the
part of
maintenance,
this,
right,
yeah.
is they check.
Okay.
the
Same
cameras.
part of 2017.
I will confirm that, though.
Right.
I will confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that, that would be included in this price, I would say, the 3,600.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna put the cameras in, they're gonna have to review it, so that's gotta be part of it all, yeah.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the quotation number 0174-16BD from Signal Service Incorporated for $3,624.79 to furnish all necessary labor, equipment, and material to install video detection to replace the 2 broken vehicle loops on Lancaster Avenue due to pavement failure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion?
Anybody call PennDOT, come on, Tom, fix our roads?
They work with
That hasn't been that long since that was resurfaced,
No, I
right?
know, that's really, that's sad, that was done, I'm not sure which one that was done maybe with the Pine Street thing,
Yeah.
or the one,
Yeah, I think it was.
or North, or, I don't know.
That's not that old.
It hasn't been, no, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, where is that? Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Any other discussion? If not, any other motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. C, codification proposal from,
Yes, this is sad, and very scary, but our, codes guy, well, our codification guy, Key State's publisher, passed away.
Really?
And, yes, you'll be hearing, yeah, yeah. When, did you say?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, and, evidently, he was a one-man show. And so we have to get, you know, with another codification group to continue to have our, ordinances online and all of that, yeah.
now, do we bid that, or do we get different quotes from people? Or?
Well,
You don't,
not for
you don't have to, they're only a limited number of providers that do that. It's basically Key States and General Code that provide that service, both for the codification, the updates, and then maintaining everything online.
I guess my next question is, he have like files of ours or anything that,
Yeah, and
and how
yeah,
do you recover those and do they go to the next?
well, yeah, we,
I mean, that's what all these look like, I'm sure.
yes, they would do all that, yeah. And, did you all get this? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. So that is in there and with an explanation of what they would be doing and, you know, there's not, like Stacy said, there's Key States and General Code. So, I would say at the very least, we need to get something set up as soon as possible. We just found this out, and as I understand it, and I, you know, I know no one likes to do stuff this quickly, but I believe our, connection to their service ends at the end of the month. I mean, this all just came on, you know,
To whose service?
to Key States. So we have to get with somebody else right away. And,
It's plain cut, I mean, I think we should be able to vote on this tonight, I mean, it's,
yeah,
it has to be done.
yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
know whether he's a one-man show?
General
He's-
Code is big.
Yeah, they're, okay.
Yeah, they're a big organization. They
They
do.
were actually, yeah, we used to have, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they were, we used to have them.
You gotta
yeah.
change our resolution, at the, remember at the beginning of the year, we have a resolution stating who's doing what, and
Well, that's a resolution, yeah, we probably would
Do
do
you
that when we do
designate Key
this.
States?
Yeah,
Okay, we can do that.
yeah, thank you.
At the risk of sounding heartless, because we're being sort of pushed to do this, should Key States, reimburse us for some of the fees that we paid out this year for them?
That's a question for her. I don't know.
Yeah, we can look at that. I don't know what you've paid, I don't know about the contract.
Yeah,
I would
we
have to look at all of
That's a
that.
good point, though.
But they do have an obligation to fulfill their side of the contract, so
Right.
to the extent that that is not happening, obviously, we wanna make sure you're not paying for something you're not getting.
Where do you
So
find
we
all,
can look
if
at
it was
that.
a one-man show, where do you find all this stuff at?
Well, he couldn't have possibly been truly one-man show, there's somebody wrapping up,
There is still
there
a,
has to be somebody wrapping
Yeah.
up his entity.
There
If he's
is
got
a-
contracts,
yeah, yeah,
his service,
yeah, everybody's up there scrambling, actually,
you know. We can look at that, if you can get me the contract.
I will.
General Code is gonna get real busy then.
Oh, yes.
Well, general code is huge. I typically deal with general code for all of my other municipalities, so they're much more popular, if you will, than Key States, but Key States was the other provider that I've seen.
I make a motion we accept the proposal for codification services by General Code.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item D,
Okay, so I have a copy of the
Yep.
resolution, indicating that council is supporting Senate Bill 535 and House Bill 71, enabling all municipal police to use the same motor vehicle speed timing equipment as the Pennsylvania State Police. Evidently, these two bills are moving their way through the legislature, and the Pennsylvania Mayor's Association has asked that councils adopt a resolution that will be forwarded to our state senator and our state representative, asking for their support of these two bills. So that's what this resolution is all about.
Make a motion, we approve resolution in support of Senate Bill 535 House Bill 71 regarding speed timing equipment.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion?
I just think that we ought to encourage the residents, to be aware that this Senate Bill 535 and this House Bill 71 are coming up, and that they could contact their representatives, because this will not only allow the police to, stop the car for speeding, but during that stop, a lot of other things can be discovered. And when you're looking at human trafficking, you're always looking at who's being carried in vehicles back and forth. So it's another wonderful opportunity for our police officers to have another window into what's going on in the community.
If you call Senator Andrew Dinniman's office, I want to ask them to change their message, because I called the other day on some other bills, and it said the office is now closed due to inclement weather. And it was sunny and bright out. No one answered the phone. I'm like, you
Was
kidding
it
me?
Clem? They were playing golf, right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
To address your issue, if this resolution is approved tonight, I do have a press release that will be forwarded to the press.
Awesome.
Chief, you know on this one,
Yes.
will this be for all police departments or the ones that have a full-time police department?
I haven't,
You haven't looked at this
I haven't
one?
seen that.
I've seen 41 years worth
I
of,
was gonna say,
so each one of them seems to have a different thing in it.
Each one gets a little closer, don't they, Doug?
Each one
Well,
gets a little
86.
closer. I will tell you that most of the Chester County members of the legislature, both the House and the Senate, have always been in favor of radar. It's when you get out into the center part of the state and where you start to run into problems with the support lagging. So hopefully it seems to have a little more juice this time and it will pass. And we will
Well-
finally be able to enforce the laws that the legislature tells us we have to enforce that we now can't.
Right. And the advantage of having the citizens call is that John Lawrence and Andy Dinniman can then say, I've had so many phone calls about this, to influence the vote, even for those folks who might not be in favor of it.
And I'd just like to note that as the mayor's got in this resolution, that Pennsylvania is the state with the third highest number of speeding-related fatalities, the third highest percentage of speeding-related fatalities and total fatalities in the country. It's amazing.
And we're the only state that doesn't allow the radar.
Yeah.
The same state that we allow you guys to point a 9mm gun at us, we don't allow you to point a speed gun at us.
Yep.
that sounds like a headline.
All right, any other discussion? Now, we have a motion to support the resolution for the Senate Bill 535 and House Bill 71. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
And I will, I'm emailing right now to both Steve and Marcy and the rest of you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, item E, John, the red uniform tailor.
Yes, I didn't get a chance
PO,
to get these to the, or to get this bill, or this, to the Finance Committee. Kind of jumped ahead of me. This is for Red Uniform Tailor. He's our uniform supplier. The full breakdown I have attached here, but basically it's uniform updates and replacements for Officer Coverly, Officer Bolt, a coat for Officer Simrel and Corporal Brown, vest carriers for Doherty and Bolt, and 2 new ballistic vests to replace the expired or soon to expire. Every 5 years the vests expire, so this year it would be Doherty and Simrel, and we have a grant that will give us 50% of that back. So the total is $3,842.95.
So I'll make a motion, we approve PO
Can you wait
02.
just a minute? Hold that thought.
And
We got that three-quarter system.
And that is budgeted funds through the uniform budget for this year.
So I make a motion, we approve PO 020254, red the uniform tailor for $3,842.95.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to, pass the PO 020254. Any discussion?
Will,
Chief, the 3,800, that's the total or that's our half?
That's the total at this point.
And then we'll have,
974 and 974, whatever that comes out to, we'll get half of that back.
okay.
So we get 974.
All right, Peggy, you had a question?
when our three new part-time officers come on, will we have another bill for uniforms for them?
Depends what we have downstairs.
Depends what size they are, right?
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? If not, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. PO order, PO number 020256.
This is for upgrading the video and recording system in the interview room and the AV room, which will in turn also upgrade the automatic mobile video download system. And it will also add surveillance to the juvenile holding room. This is coming from a $5,000 grant for this specific purpose that we got back in, I think, March or April of last year from the district attorney. So these funds are not coming out of the budget.
I make a motion, we approve PO 020256, big picture audio video design, $4,602.84. PA grant for enhancement to station video surveillance and recording system.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, special event permit. Jeff?
Okay, the Borough Brewery is requesting a special event permit for an event that will be held on the 14th of May from 11 a.m. in the morning until 6 p.m. at night. It will be for their open house and spring fling. The location of the event will be on the sidewalk and parking spots behind 14 South 3rd Street. They anticipate anywhere between 60 and 180 attendees. There are no animals that will be involved. The sponsor organization is the Borough Brewery. We have the contact information, and there will require no overtime for our police officers, and they have attached the $30 fee.
So I guess my one question is, they still have to get something from the liquor control special permit.
Yeah, they're in the process of doing it.
Okay.
And did you say how many they were expecting?
They're saying 60 to 108.
Yes.
And that doesn't require extra police coverage when you have 60 to 180 people drinking?
As long as you don't show.
Well, they're not drinking as in
What date is that?
mugs of beer, they can taste.
Taste, okay.
What date was that?
May
May the
14th.
14th.
You'll be at Eli's celebration.
May the
That's
14th.
right.
We're
That's,
good.
we're at the Eli celebration
Yes,
that
we
night.
are.
Will anybody be there then?
Well, we got 300 tickets.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're not even gonna have a ball tournament.
Okay. Any, do we have a motion?
We're set.
I make a motion, we approve the special events permit for Borough Brewery on the date of 5/14/2016 from 11 to 6 for their open house and spring fling.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to see him bring a bog turtle there, because I've never seen one.
The same problem they had at
Well,
White.
Neither does anybody else.
People that drop
They
it like
are
that.
endangered.
All right.
5 to 9.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, the
And,
harbor.
pass that down, Mr. Herschel, sign it.
Now, I don't know if you all have a copy of this, the hard
I think so,
review.
Mhm.
And basically, this does not have to have anything done. Council can approve it. It's, the HARB looked at it and they didn't have any problems with it, so, it's up to you whether you actually want to formally approve it. You don't really have to because they didn't really have a formal meeting, but it would probably be nice if you just.
Where's this at again?
Pardon me?
24 South 3rd Street?
The bank, it's the bank. They're putting a sign, I believe there, yeah, I think that's what it is. They're putting, Andrew, let me see, it's there or the, let me check here. No, it's up there.
4X face replacements?
Yeah, and on the last letter, or on the last page, excuse me, of the HARB review, it says the board has determined this property is not subject to the processing of their certificate of appropriateness, which means it doesn't fall under any problems there. It falls under the guidelines. But I have asked that even when the historical review board looks at these things, even if they don't require that, I said it would be nice for us to get a copy of the fact that they've received that and that they've looked at it, because we will have people asking us, did you look at such and such a sign when it came in? So some of those signs are not gonna be a problem. They're not even in the historic district, so, some of them are, so there's a variety of reasons why they don't have to do anything. So it's really just for you to see that they looked at that, but it is not a problem.
Okay.
And what is that 24 South 3rd Street?
It's the bank that is doing this, and yeah, it's BB&T Bank. Well, it will be BB&T Bank. Yeah, it's National Penn Bank, and they're,
They're basically replacing what,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
says not
Yeah.
and probably using the same thing,
Yes.
just putting new vinyl over it.
yeah.
Done.
Okay.
So we don't need to,
You don't need to do anything, yeah.
No,
just,
okay.
information, okay? Item I, ordinance speed limit and sledding.
Watch what you said there. Yeah,
Speed limit ordinance dash sledding ordinance.
it's authorization to advertise. So,
You should have the draft ordinance before you. This council requested that we do an amendment to the traffic regulations, the maximum speed limit on Mount Vernon Street. After SSM did their traffic study and made the recommendation. The only thing I wanted to draw to your attention is the way the ordinance is currently written, the amendment is written. It would reduce the speed limit for Mount Vernon Street between Pine Street and Lancaster Avenue to 25 miles an hour. I noticed in the minutes of some of the discussions that you have all had, that there were discussions of reducing it the entire length of Mount Vernon Street. The SSM review letter was limited to between Pine Street and Lancaster Avenue. So the only thing that you are permitted to do at this point is amend it as to that stretch of Mount Vernon between Pine and Lancaster. You would need to get a recommendation from SSM in order to go that further stretch.
The other stretch is 25.
It is 25.
Already,
so that's, I guess that was,
under the ordinance?
Between Mount Vernon and North Third is 25.
Okay.
You mean between Pine.
Pine.
Pine and
So we're good.
Right, as long as you're comfortable, that's how it's written. The other provision is just to clean up some sliding language that we didn't catch. It was in two different sections for some unknown reason. We caught it to one side, we didn't catch the other one, so we're just cleaning it.
All right, we need permission to advertise, correct?
Correct.
I make a motion that we advertise for the ordinance authorizing, that we, I'm not sure how to say this, I apologize.
It's okay. Motion to authorize advertising of the ordinance amending the speed limits and sledding regulations.
Thank you.
Second. Go ahead, Paul.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Questions for Stacy? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Item J, change order on Wheeler.
Yeah, I think everybody has a copy of that. It's, pretty self-explanatory there. It's gone through our engineer, through Scheibel. He's the project manager for that project in Wheeler. So they're recommending that we approve this change order so we can continue that project.
Is this delving into our funds for speed bumps?
It's delving into the grant funding, so, yeah. We're not paying it, it's the grant, yeah.
We'll revert that to the.
Make a motion, we approve, change order for Wheeler Boulevard in the amount of $31,400.
I second that motion.
Should.
No,
I should let you do it.
it's okay, I'm happy to second it.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second to, for the change order on Wheeler Boulevard. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item K, the water PO.
I'm not sure, did you all get a copy of that?
See you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
you're dismissed.
Oh, okay, all right.
It is 9 o'clock. I can get out of here all.
Yeah. Okay, we have I can pass this around, but this was brought in at the last minute, from the water department, but they need, hydrant extensions and caps and clamps in the amount of $1,983.24, and that is in our, budget.
Part of the budget.
Yes, it's for repairs.
For where?
Or a hydrant, I'm not sure if they have on there what address it is, they had a, it might be on the back of that. I'm sorry, I just got it today before they left. And they were working on the project, I'm assuming that's what it was.
Want to look at it? You good?
I couldn't get, I tried to call both of them, they had left early because they came in early today, so. But it is to repair a hydrant.
Do they have those parts available and then replace them? Is that what?
Probably, and I was thinking, obviously, they're not letting it run off, well, I guess they could shut it off the valve, yeah. But, yeah, but we need to keep it going.
Like, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve purchase order number 020531 to Exeter Supply Company Incorporated for fire hydrant replacement parts in the total amount of $1,983.24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion items, family promise. Peggy.
Public Works sign this?
Pardon me?
Who wanted to sign this?
You can sign it.
Family Promise of Southern Chester County
Thank
is an organization that provides transitional housing for families while they're getting on their feet to get housing. And they do that by having churches in the different communities host them. I just wanted to point out that on their newsletter that came out today, out of 12 host congregations, 2 of them are in the borough of Oxford. This is for the entire Southern Chester County, which has 20 boroughs and townships in it. But 2 of the hosting churches are in the Oxford borough, and 4 of the support congregations are in the Oxford borough. It's just another example of how our community reaches out to care for people. I just think that we need to say thank you to all the people in all the churches that worked so hard to make this a success. Thanks.
Okay, and then item B, the library, you had
Yeah, well, we had some discussion in the community and here before the meeting about the library, and there's some pretty strong feeling out in the public arena that we should not be charging a fee to the library because they do so much to keep our kids off of the street. They do so much to provide the only recreational facility that there is for seniors and kids. I mean, people can go there and read, they can get on the computer, and they can stay out of trouble. And based upon that, I would like to make my amendment again, that we waive the fee for the library for the 2 events that they are listed to have in the park this summer.
I second that.
Thank you.
Is that a motion?
The motion. The motion.
I second
Is
that
another
motion.
motion
Okay, we have a
to cut
motion
down.
and a second.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? We've discussed this.
I just want to be noted that the issues last week were surrounding the permit that is online stating that there is a damage deposit that is needed. There are 2 permits online. I do see the one that you say is the updated permit,
Okay.
Resolution 1206-2015, Borough of Oxford. This is the fees along with the permit
And
for
an
use.
ordinance? Is there?
So what we need to do is remove the defunct permit.
Okay, okay.
The one that is no longer good is listed under the homepage. Where do I go for?
Yeah,
It then is under Memorial Park permit.
okay,
The good one is under Oxford Memorial Park,
okay, thank you.
registration form.
Okay.
So that'll help
Yeah.
And
solve that problem.
Yeah. and
So
then-
that would be a $50 fee per time that we're waiving the fee. The new.
Well, let's not even talk about how
the
much
new
it is for
one-
waiving the fees.
Right. Well, we need to make sure everyone understands what we're waiving there. The new one is park rental for up to 50 people is $50. Park rental for 51+ people is $100. These are non-refundable, and there is no fee
Yes.
for
Refundable.
refundable deposit fee. So,
Okay.
just want to get that out for clarity.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Just a question, even though the fee is going to be waived, should they still complete the application, just to have it on
Yes.
file?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I believe that that would be.
Yeah, they have to,
Yeah.
so they're, so it's
That would be
get
great.
reserved, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have
And
to do that to
reserve.
be able to
Yeah.
have a reserve.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
All right, any
Good
other
point.
discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Okay,
carries. Item C, sidewalks in the park, you weren't here last week, we did discuss this, and I assume that's what you were talking about, replacing what's there. We said to go ahead and move forward on
So look at the grant.
Just Chase Street.
the Chase Street, the regular
Not Chase,
sidewalk.
Coach.
or
Coach.
Coach Street, along one side of the
C's,
park.
Yeah.
And then, we're gonna use Borough, gift money.
I don't know, but
Borough,
they discussed it at finance.
So I had it written
And
down,
then-
trying to remember.
And then
It
when
was
we
at-
get
it was-
closer to the
I had it
playground
wrong.
equipment, then we'll do the other part. Like,
So- So the borough is gonna,
Let me bring you up to speed real quick. Next week, at 4 o'clock, I'll have the next meeting at the library, where we're gonna be discussing, look at the grants that, Dr. Fisher has applied for, which, what they're doing is we're working on the money for that $155,000 for the playground. Okay. So the sidewalks do all have to
yeah,
be replaced because of the fact that it has
have
to
to
be
get there.
ADA, and plus, it just needs it, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna turn that place into something where people can enjoy and bring all your children and have a great time. So the mission is, we're planning on October breaking ground, if we can get the grants that we need to complete the playground, right? So October would be the time frame that we would break ground and to go ahead and complete the playground before the end of October, so.
And the sidewalks too.
And the sidewalks would have to be, yeah, I mean,
So we'd have to put
they
that
should be
up
in place
to bid, yeah.
before.
Oh, we
Well, I've
talked
seen the
about,
diagrams and stuff, what's the name of the company that's building that playground?
Burt, B-U-R-K-E, Burt.
Where are they at?
I can't recall where they're at, but
I want
that's what
to talk to
they
you, but-
professionally do, that's what they do,
They've done the ones at the school.
yes.
And they build
Dr. Fisher built, or worked with them before, excuse me.
And,
They did
and the key to this company too is they're, you can have any company come in for a playground, but you can't have any company come in for a special needs, all-inclusive playground. It is particular and it better be right. Because this is all the children are gonna be out there playing on it, is all of the children.
we
No
talked
matter
about
what their
finance.
disability is, huh?
We talked about finance.
Okay.
The fee, the amount of money just to do the park, so it's $42,000. So, in order for us to do, Coach, right, Coach Street, yeah,
Coach is 52.
$52,000. So we're moving ahead with Coach Street right now, because we figured that as a borough, we need to have Coach Street done because it's our property, and there's a sidewalk on one end and a sidewalk on the other end, so we moved ahead in that one right now, but we're kinda holding off until, in the park right now, because, there's other roads that we need fixed too. And we talked about that in finance, about holding off and see, is there any way that the donations you're getting would cover the sidewalks in the park?
No.
But you said there was possibility of grants for that.
Well, we said that, but with the fact that that grant won't come out till next year anyhow, but now there still is no budget, so we can't be sure about that, and we can't go to the,
But it gives
county.
us time, because
Well,
between now and when the playground equipment's ready, if it doesn't get installed, if it gets held up or it doesn't get installed in this year.
I'm hoping that it doesn't, but there is always that
Right.
chance, because we can't go forward unless we have all of the money.
But the other part, we all
Now-
agreed, we need it done.
Now, here's the thing, I'm gonna know for sure as we move forward with these grants. Once those grants are approved, I can come back and say, hey, grants are approved, we have the money. And then we can, go from there.
he means for the
For the
playground.
playground, for the playground. Now, what was the deal with Coach, sidewalks? That
Coach
needs
is,
to be
yeah,
done.
yes.
There's no sidewalks.
Because they won't be
there.
able to
Has to
get
be
in,
done.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
We're
everything
talking a regular, straight,
Yes.
concrete sidewalk
Yep.
there.
Okay.
However, I just have to mention this, I think it would be cheaper if they both were done together, but that's up,
But there were two separate quotes.
Yeah, they're two separate quotes because they're two separate things, yes.
Can we find that out, what the price break is if they were both done together?
But they also use different
Different,
equipment
well, yeah, but they
and all
still,
that
you
kind of
would
stuff.
still have one, but I'm just saying,
I,
they would be cheaper, but if you wanna do it,
I
obviously the way you
believe
wanna
that.
do it is the way you wanna do it, but, yeah, I'm just happy that.
can we get some information on that though? If they're done together, what it is
Yeah.
versus if they're not?
Yeah.
And in the park, it wasn't concrete, it was like, what was it?
Bituminous.
Pervious, what's it called?
Bituminous.
Bituminous, that's
Yes.
it.
What was the price for in the
That's
park?
ADA?
$42,000.
It would be ADA, yeah, it's not, yeah.
Okay.
And that money would come out of the gift fund.
Oh, okay, so you are planning, okay.
Well, we only plan right now for Coach.
Okay.
Unless, I think that the feeling was, unless there's a budget passed in Harrisburg,
Mhm.
and it falls in the timeline to get it done. And
Well,
then
the
it's
grant,
Yeah.
we're nearly past, we're almost past the deadline for the grant now anyhow, but I have been told by the county that the funds are probably gonna be, I'm sure they're gonna be held up for the for the community development block grant, which was where I was going to go.
Right.
So if they're held up for that, they're held up for the other, because that all comes from the state. So I don't think you're gonna get anything from that by the time you need to do that sidewalk, is
And
my
the,
point.
and the Apple Festival funds this year, they said they're gonna donate the
Oh.
funds to the playground. They've sent Dr. Fisher and I, so.
And
They said they use it for the, Apple Festival and all, they
Right.
felt that it was only right that they donated the money back to the playground.
Ron, to answer your question on the company, corporate headquarters for Burke is in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. However, the representative that you guys are working with is actually Recreation Resource out of Kennett Square.
Yes,
Yeah.
And they actually built the Elkridge Elementary School playground and used that as a featured playground on their website.
Mhm.
So,
And so if we're taking them, help me go through this, cause I'm new to this gift fund. So if the money is coming out of the gift fund, what is the holdup? I mean, if we know that we wanna use it for children, we know that we wanna use it for the park, which serves all the residents in the community, what's the holdup of
Well,
pulling it out of the
part
gift?
of the last week's discussion was that until we know the exact footprint of the playground and exactly how they're installing it, we don't wanna have to redo part of that. We wanna wait till work the two together.
The sidewalks where they're right now.
So,
The one sidewalk, we know where that goes, there,
Right.
yeah, but they're saying,
and the other part of the
Yeah, I
discussion
know that.
was that if the budget in Harrisburg is held up and those applications get extended because of
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
you know, that was a sort of wait and see thing.
But that wouldn't affect the money that's in the gift.
No,
No,
but
that
we
has
could
nothing
do,
to do.
if,
Right.
if we waited and were able to get that money, we wouldn't have to use gift funds.
Right, okay.
Right.
As well.
And that's, you know what, that's understandable.
Yeah.
This is, March, right? So
yeah.
I'm gonna be having a meeting next week and we're gonna keep finding out where we're at with the grant money and then I'll keep you posted.
Is there any possible way that the grant money would exceed the amount of the park and they could include the sidewalks? My only concern is, when I came on council,
That's a question.
our biggest concern on roads was Fifth Street and Broad.
Oh, I know.
We haven't touched Broad yet. So to tell residents that we're taking $42,000, I know it's for a good cause in the park, to do sidewalks in the park and not take care of a road that we have been having problems with for years. That's where my concern is.
But you
So
don't use gift fund
$42,000.
money
No,
to
I
do
know, but
roads and
We do have other,
gift fund money
It's
was
not a
given
concern
to
of
do
mine.
some of the things that you can't do with,
in that fund, it shows you where stuff can go,
which one?
And I think
right there.
I mean,
part,
but there's a number of gift funds, so.
This is the gift fund that she's talking about taking out.
I think the park too also responds to the need of many people who don't have cars to drive on the roads.
Well, and
And they
actually,
walk to the park.
I don't know, I've already discussed this with you, but we've been looking at trying to
Right now,
get that
they don't, because it's
inside
very
trail done,
complaint,
because it's not safe.
Right.
We've been trying to get that done
especially-
anyhow, so whether
That's
they're
what
putting
gift fund is
put
for.
a playground in or not, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the gift fund's allowed to do what?
That's how much is did for finance, public works and water. Under that
Well,
gift
how
fund.
much money are we using out of that gift fund for tablets? Maybe we could donate that and use our own laptops.
Right there.
It's less than that.
Well, it's 8,000, but that would bring it down.
I think the issue with using our personal laptop is that we would have borough
That's
information
right.
on our personal
How
website.
about,
maybe put them
how
off for
about
next
if we
year?
just got inexpensive laptops?
Or how about we just
instead of-
move the-
I don't think this, you know, we're
iPads out.
discussing the sidewalks
So- I
now,
know, I
so.
shouldn't be discussing
Um,
tablets.
We have gift money to do that, but I think the whole idea last week was wait and see if there's grant money that
Yeah.
becomes available, why not go for the grant money? Either way,
I
and
want
if
to
we
leave a
come,
wheeler.
and if we come down to it, we have the gift money to do it until, you know, when the sidewalk's ready to go, or when the
Yeah,
playground's ready to go, we do have the money there. If we can use some grant to
Okay.
do it, why not?
yeah.
Okay. I will follow up. I'll get back.
All right, we need a computer here. Report the mayor.
Okay, can you just approve the rest of this and go? I mean,
I don't think so.
How fast, Jeff?
For the month of February, there were 590 police involvements, 163 initial investigations, 22 supplemental investigations, 28 parking tickets issued, $600 in parking tickets paid, district court fines of $1,945.83, DUI fines $318.58. There were no fingerprints sold. Parking meter collection, and this probably is a 2-month total, $3,540.08. Crash reports sold, 180. There were 87 traffic citations issued, 4 non-traffic citations, and 13 criminal arrests in the month of February. Overtime for the month of February is a total of 90 hours. 61 was for shift coverage, 19 for court, 6.5 for investigation, and 3.5 for detail, which included the First Friday detail and the Cub Scout CSI presentation. Also, the comments that I'm gonna make as part of my report are no reflection or any indication of things that might not be done correctly. But in the daily local news on Sunday, there was an article that referred to Sunshine Week. You're right to know. Evidently, the week of March 13th through March the 19th was Sunshine Week, where governments and other organizations were encouraged to continue to be more transparent. The article makes some recommendations in order to improve transparency. The suggestion is with the municipalities that they looked at, there were 4 of them, that the meeting minutes all indicate the location of where the meeting actually occurred, as well as the agenda. It also is suggesting, for in order for transparency, that votes actually be listed when a motion is taken, particularly if there are persons who abstain or vote nay, that those votes should be recorded so the public can see who voted on what particular motion. And I draw an example of the discussion that took place with the library. It said during a long discussion, 2 separate motions were made and they both failed. The library will be required to pay a fee. So if somebody read these minutes and they asked why did it fail and who voted for and against it, there's no way to determine that in the minutes. So I guess I'm just bringing that up as information for council. And that concludes my report.
I make a motion to approve the report of the mayor.
Second that.
Motion and second to approve the report of the mayor. Any questions for the mayor?
No, but I think he makes 2 very, very good points, and I wonder if we could pass them along to Linda.
Yeah.
That we make a note on here where the meeting is held, and then also the no votes, or,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
or the
And
yes votes or whatever.
since we're on that subject, again, I'd just like to ask everyone to try to just talk one at a time, because it gets really hard to, I was trying to listen to, because Linda couldn't figure out who was saying what was being, and how to separate it, so that if we can talk one at a time, it makes it much easier to get.
The motion was approved, but was it approved 5-2 or?
Yeah,
And you could even,
7-0?
yeah.
and that was one of the things that was really hard to hear, to be honest with you, so, yeah, good,
So I
thanks
guess
for bringing that up.
It's the state for
That
for the
concludes my
record every
report.
time we vote.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Return reports for approval, we have the minutes from February 22nd and March 14th.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from August 22nd. I don't believe I can do March 14th, I don't here, so February 22nd.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes of February 22nd. Any additions or corrections?
No corrections, it's just that in that, I was reminded that we had talked about the community meal that we were going to serve. And we did that, provided and cooked and served it. And I just wondered if the council could send a thank you note to OPC for their support with their volunteers, because if it had not been for the 2 people in the kitchen, this meal would not have flown based
Right. Oh, I
upon
know.
the 8 or 9 of us that were there, okay? So I just wondered, you know, Ron, if you'd be kind enough to send them a letter thanking them for the support they gave us, because that wouldn't have worked.
Any other corrections or comments on the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the minutes from March 14th.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from March 14th, 2016.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes from March 14th. Do we have any additions or corrections?
I just have a correction, under that same area of the Oxford Library that the mayor referred to,
Where are we at?
We're on
Page
the
3.
second page, yeah, page 3. Under Oxford Library, where it says, Ms. Russell said it was their summer reading group, not a public event. Ms. Russell would like to see us waive any financial responsibility. It was not any financial responsibility, it was only the fees.
Okay.
So, I'm confused on that.
Registration, no, park
With the-
registration fees, is that what you meant?
I meant the fees.
Park
Yeah, the
registration
park
fees? Okay.
registration fees.
Okay.
Because I think to say financial responsibility opens up a whole can of worms.
Yes,
You
it
can't-
does.
You can't say,
Yeah,
we
I see
can't
what you're
waive
saying.
financial responsibility.
Yeah.
We can waive fees.
Any other additions or corrections? If not, we have the minutes of March 14th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the report of the treasurer from February 29th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report for February. Any discussion, comments?
I guess I just have two. Under the replacement of the vehicle, the police vehicle, I believe the vehicle that was damaged and the rack was replaced. And I guess the question is, since that came out of proceeds from the insurance company, should it appear on this line item? Because if in fact we come back towards the middle of the year and ask council to approve the purchase of a new police car, this money, it looks like we'll have.
What page is that, Jim?
That is on page 4 of the general budget.
It's already 81% right now, because
Correct, because, yeah. So,
And what line item is it?
replacement
750.
vehicle, 410,750, and if there's,
Okay.
it was paid out of the proceeds of
Insurance.
insurance.
Can Artie straighten that out?
I'm writing her a note.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's included in the insurance reimbursements, line item 380070 on page 2. If it might just be lumped into that.
No, she took the purchase of the car that replaced the car that was.
Understood, it came out of your budget, but the money that was reimbursed from the insurance didn't go back into
Where
your
did it come
budget.
back in here?
Well,
It's there.
It all goes in the general.
it's into the general fund.
Right.
Right.
The problem is that we're gonna show it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've
Unless
asked
you
her.
just put a note, I mean,
Yeah.
when they,
Yeah.
at the end of the year, you put a note referring
I think
back to that.
Public's only gonna see $60-some thousand over budget.
There's my
And the
sign.
chief worked real hard to get that.
Sidewalks.
We're gonna send the overtime.
I think the chief worked real hard to get that price
Get those
down.
part-time
Yeah.
For
police
that
on.
replacement.
All right,
And-
so now that Artie will straighten that.
Yes,
And also,
I've asked her.
just a question about the comment about the overtime for the regular police force. Already we're at 45%, and it's my understanding that of the $8,000 that was paid for overtime, most of that is a result of holiday pay. And overtime for working holidays, so in anticipation of next year's budget, my suggestion would be if there could be a line item added to the budget called non-productive salaries.
Non-productive, that doesn't sound good.
Non-productive, so that there's some way of backing out the premiums paid for holiday into a separate line.
I'm gonna think she's gonna say no on that, but I'm asking her.
Because we
I'm not
all-
sure, I'm not sure how she has to list that as far as our auditors are
And
concerned.
the question would be, is the salaries that were listed for the part-time, for patrol officers, the 476,000, did that include holiday pay? and
Probably, what do you call it,
The holiday and
yeah, what is
the
that?
court time and
No, not that. What they get for the years, longevity pay.
longevity.
That's
I
probably in
guess the
there.
question is, of this 476, what was used to come up with that? Was it just their annual salaries, or did it include the premium pay for holidays and
Okay.
those sorts of things?
But since we're not there, I mean, we're into March already and we haven't been doing that, I mean, we're gonna come under the budget on that line anyway, aren't we?
Well, no, because we've
Well,
already
no.
done 45%, and we've only had 2 months.
Right, we're
But-
on
On
But that
on the
8,000
part-time, where are we?
No, no,
Oh, no, I'm talking
Sheriff.
about.
No, I'm talking about the
overtime.
part-time.
Talking about patrol officers,
Yeah.
what was used to come up with that 476?
Yeah.
Good point.
Was
And
holiday
it probably
or-
is longevity and the holiday, I'm guessing, but we'll check on that, and see how she has to list it.
But if we go back to, just for the moment, to go back to the overtime, the 8,000 that we reflected in January was holiday pay. But the 8,000 that we're reflecting for February, there was no holiday pay for that, was there? Unless,
Well, depends
No,
on.
the 16,900, yeah, that would be reflecting on what was paid in
I
January.
mean, it's reflect ongoing.
right, but
yeah,
but
this is the
February
actual
was
overtime.
8,000.
Right,
So that doesn't reflect any holiday pay.
for February, no, it wouldn't, but,
No, okay.
so yes, there was 8,000 overtime paid for the month of January.
You're saying some of that should be, if they were including holiday pay in that 470 something, then they should use that,
Right,
Yeah.
it shouldn't,
it
Yeah.
shouldn't go on that line, is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
how are those line
A
items divvied
breakdown.
up? and
Chief, you gonna be here tomorrow?
what
Why don't you
goes into
just-
those?
Talk to Artie about that, rather than me, I mean, yeah. Okay,
And some of that overtime is because we didn't hire a part-time until middle of
Correct.
February.
And there are 3 part-time officers that have been hired. All of them have qualified with their weapons. I just signed documentation to go to get them certified. So once their certification comes through, and we can swear them in. But it's a lengthy process. We just don't hire today and pull this street tomorrow.
do we have any idea when they might be able to start?
We will mail all the paperwork tomorrow, probably overnight it. And it'll be 7 to 10 business days from the time they receive it.
So maybe
and it
April
goes into
1st?
their- I would hope so.
Yeah.
Probably Chris Young will get in before the
Because tomorrow, today's the 21st, so,
And our intent would be to, if we need to, prior to next council, we will swear them in, and then just do a ceremony of swearing in from council, so. We need to get them. on the
yeah,
street.
absolutely.
All right,
will you let Linda know to put that on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, we have a motion, any other, discussion on the treasurer's report? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, we have the paid bills.
Make a motion to approve the paid bills from March 15th, 2016, and the
Second.
unpaid bills from March 15th, 2016.
Second. Wait, you said unpaid bills?
Yeah, we can't do
Can't
anything.
I tried,
All
but.
right, we got, we got a motion on the paid bills. Any discussion on that? Those are usually pretty cut and dry.
What's the 499 to Artie?
$4.99 to Artie?
I'm assuming that's a reimbursement for
Yeah.
what we got.
I don't know, off the top of my head, I'd have to check with Artie, yeah.
Wrong one.
Wow. I'm sure she can explain it,
Yes, I would think she could.
yeah. Otherwise, she wouldn't put her name on
She
it,
was
she'd
being
put somebody else's
appropriate.
name.
Have it on
Nah, I'm
there.
just,
Yeah,
I wouldn't shell out $500 for my company.
well,
Would you?
That's why we have Artie.
You're on video with that.
That's fine.
I would.
All right,
I stayed
any
like
other
it is.
discussion?
who seconded the unpaid? Thompson?
I did.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unpaid bills, and with the addendum.
Make a motion, we accept the unpaid bills and the addendum to unpaid bills.
Second that one.
That was, it was in that file somewhere. We have a motion and a second to approve the unpaid bills along with the addendum. Any discussion on that? discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have the, report of the tax collector.
Make a motion to approve the report of the tax collector from February 29th.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve the report of the tax collector.
we collected 3 cents.
It says an adjustment.
Make sure you get that.
Looks like they collected 200, yeah,
Where at?
244,341,
Okay.
minus discounts though, so 237,36.
Any other discussion on the report of the tax collector? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the building code report.
Make a motion to approve the building code report from March 15th.
Do I have a second? Second. A motion is second to approve the, building code report. Any discussion on that?
What did, UNO is what?
Use and occupancy. I'm
So,
assuming,
Rita's water race, and I thought they've already had a use. Yeah, you get a UNO every year?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
well, it depends on what you're doing, or where are you talking? I think that was, they're actually, I didn't know they already got that, they're actually looking into going into another location.
Moving
So let
up.
me check, yeah, let me check.
I'm assuming on page 2, there's a couple items that appear to be struck through.
Yeah, so they must have, yeah,
Okay.
they refused and then we made phone calls. Made them an offer, no.
They were all okay.
I didn't, wasn't that good, yes. Yeah.
Any discussion on the building code report?
No.
Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have the zoning officer's report.
Motion to approve the zoning officer's report from March 15th.
You're on a roll, man.
Yes, I am.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning officer's report. Any discussion on that? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the council committee reports. I'm back to you.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, she's got so many tapes.
We have coach committee, Sue's not here, did coach committee meet? We don't have a report here, so. Did coach?
Honestly,
They
I
meet
can't
Monday,
say I
don't they?
remember.
Oh.
We did,
Yeah.
we did, we had it the last Monday
Okay.
night
Oh.
of February, when there were 3 meetings, didn't we,
Oh.
that night?
I honestly don't remember. I can't say.
Because there was an extra Monday night in February.
Yeah, that's
so
right, we
used
did,
it.
we did, yes, that was
There
the,
were 3 meetings,
Yep.
one at 6:30, one at 7, one at 7:30.
yeah.
Right.
I might be great, but.
So no, coach committee report, finance and personnel, you met, no report from Gary. Police and public safety,
I might make copies here, copiers out of ink. At least black ink.
anything we need to highlight?
No, I'd like to thank the chief, he attended 17 hearings on the snowstorm, and he's got the paperwork almost complete for, getting reimbursed for 75% of the cost of our public works effort in the snowstorm. So,
On the state roads or all of it?
it's more, it's all state road.
No, that's for the total amount of money the borough spent for for the 48-hour period that we had some leeway in determining what that 48 hours was. I did just get a, email late this afternoon, FEMA still has not approved the state's declaration or the amount of money that was spent throughout the state. They hope that that's gonna be done by the end of this week. There's like 4 different forms that I will have to get a hold of. I got two of them done. Next, at your next meeting, you'll have to approve a resolution that allows me to act on your behalf for that, and then hopefully we'll proceed through the process as we've done in past years. We normally get 75% of it back, so hopefully.
Only when there's state of emergency is declared, or?
Only when a disaster declaration is declared.
Okay.
And the governor has asked the president to do that, so FEMA's working on the numbers. It all comes down to the numbers.
All right, LTAC, we do have a report from LTAC.
I just might note that as much as I depend on Randy Teal, he is no longer the chair.
I know,
We probably
I just
need
wrote
to
that.
change that on the minutes.
Sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. He gets the,
You
he
mean
gets a
on
lot of the
on the
credit.
agenda, not the minutes.
Or on the agenda,
Yeah,
sorry,
yes,
on the
yeah.
agenda. I would just point out on the parking study that the committee reviewed the short-term recommendations of the parking study, and it was determined that it would be necessary to resurface Midlock Alley in order to use it for metered parking. In addition, the employees use that now from many of the businesses who have been forced from other areas. The recommendation to restripe Broad Street parking, it would cost over $20,000 to recurb to provide 5 additional parking spots. So, the third one, temporary one-way, those recommendations were offered to be considered only during the construction of the parking garage and not practical for permanent usage. So when it comes time to do the construction, we can do that. And then there was discussion that there was a recommendation to extend parking meter time later than 8 p.m., but most of the businesses close at 8 p.m., so it didn't seem like that was going to be advantageous.
That was just extended 2 years ago,
Yeah.
from 6 to 8.
So we just want to point out that all of the short-term recommendations were looked at, and actually, none of them at this point are financially feasible.
Okay. Public Works, do we have a?
We did meet. I emailed the minutes over to yourself and Linda just now. Very brief meeting. Basically, the PO for the dump truck was provided by Artie. PO for the backhoe was coming before next council meeting, that they found money in the budget. We discussed that at length tonight. There was another snow event planned for the following night, which we were ready for. And Wheeler Boulevard work, as of 3/3, they had already laid over 500-foot pipe in the ground, so I'm sure they've gotten well past that now.
They're doing great.
There was a man standing up to his neck in a hole in my front yard today. They are working away.
That's how I feel.
I'll relay that.
All right, special project.
I have nothing to add.
Did you meet?
I'll add, yes I did, but I'll bring it up in discussion items for next meeting.
Okay. Planning Commission, anything to review there?
Yeah, probably tomorrow night, we might be acting on some recommendations that will come to council for next council meeting for approval of some of the plans that we do.
Okay.
Meet tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, is tomorrow night the 4th? It's the 4th, too.
Just a reminder for whoever's coming to the,
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
whoever's coming to the Regional Planning Committee meeting at Lower Oxford, that's this Wednesday night again.
Well, we'll see. Someone might be there.
Someone might be there.
Someone might be there.
Historic Commission,
John said he's there.
Yeah, yeah.
at that's, we have Chief Sales report. Any questions for him while he's here? There's the Public Works Supervisor's report.
Is there an addendum? Because there was something in the other paperwork that had like public works budget report.
Yeah, he just
He
didn't.
submits that every month.
I thought that was usually attached to it.
Usually always is, okay. Oxford Borough, workplace safety report. There were no incidents.
Good.
Union Fire Company,
And I called her, I left her a voicemail, she never got back to me, but I'll be attending the meeting on the 24th, on Thursday. And I'm gonna tell them about the reports. What were you saying, that it's done what way?
It needs to be landscaped.
Landscape.
Either that, or she's got it as an Excel spreadsheet and her column widths are not wide enough
Right.
as well.
okay, Oxford Area Rec Authority report.
You have the minutes on the January meeting, we just met in March to approve the February minutes. Pleased to announce, I think for the first time in a number of years, we actually had representatives from all municipalities. Michael Watson was recently appointed for the second seat at East Nottingham Township, and Eric Todd was appointed to the second seat at West Nottingham Township.
Is that him? Is that what you're thinking? Well, no, that I'm good at. Okay, I was thinking that.
Also, I understand that, the first of the year it's tough, but at some point in the not too distant future, if the borough can make its contribution to the rec authority, the annual contribution, and all municipalities have submitted their.
We do that when the taxes.
When the taxes start coming
Yeah,
in, we
yeah,
do
that's-
those
yeah.
donations.
So when they're aware that that will happen, so. We are gonna be putting a tot lot out there, next to the pavilion. That was a request made by, folks that are using, the park. If they're there in the pavilion or doing something, there's really no place for kids to, so it'll be a small tot lot playground. And we are looking for some money from the Dockstetter Foundation and also PICO to continue to do some improvements out there. So, continues to move forward.
Gets us back, oh, we need a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the council committee reports in bulk.
Second.
Got John on that one. We have a motion and second to approve the reports. Any other discussion on those? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Gets us back to public comment. Again, any public comments?
One short one. Acme markets are closing at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Really?
Sure that- Oh my God.
Really?
So,
Everywhere?
No,
No.
Yeah,
it's
just
Oxford. It'll be part of the car dealership, give it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
so encouraging people to go to Redner's.
Yeah, so
Yes.
if we think that it's got.
Or Holy Grounds.
The traffic going to Belmar, Redner's area, it's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get worse.
Okay. I'm coming to the town.
We need a crosswalk.
People on that side of town that shop there are gonna have to come through town. They have to-
Absolutely.
Yep.
Alright. Any other public comment? If not, I don't have much to report. I just wanted to remind council persons about the upcoming PSAB conferences in Hershey this year, right?
Yeah.
Anybody interested, see Betsy or Artie, I know council has agreed to pay for your registration, not your accommodations or food, but for your registration fees.
Since that meeting time falls over when LTAC would have their meeting, would I be allowed to reschedule the LTAC meeting if you know it ahead of time?
For something like that, of course. Not much else, but.
I was planning on going, but I already got a scheduled vacation for middle of June, so
You need it.
Yeah,
What is this vacation you speak of?
All right, that's all I had, it's getting late, so, Jeff, did you have any?
Just a reminder that nominations will still be accepted for the Citizens Award this year. I have 3 so far.
Till April 15th, right?
April 15th, or oftentimes extended. So hopefully you all can think about somebody or some group that might be worthy of receiving that recognition.
That's you, thanks, Jeff. Did you have anything?
I do. I have a letter I'd like to read.
Okay.
This is to all council. This letter will serve as my required 90-day notice of resignation from my position as borough manager. My last official day will be June 17th. I've been employed at the Borough of Oxford since April 2001, and thank you all for this amazing opportunity. The first week I came on board as manager, there was flooding on Old Street. My first goal then was to secure grant funding for Old Street. Residents of that street could not get into their homes due to the flooding. The borough was successful in securing funding to install storm drains. And that was when I realized the responsibility and possibilities of my job. And I started working with Glenn Elders on trying to secure the parking lot now owned by National Penn Bank. And after 14 years of back and forth negotiations, and tonight I can say that we've settled that agreement. That's something that I've been waiting for. Didn't think I'd live to see. Together, we've secured well over $5 million for the borough and have done waterline projects on Pine, 4th Street, South and North 3rd Street, and currently, here you go, old copy for you all. And currently working on Wheeler. We've also done streetscape projects on South 3rd, Broad Street, North 3rd Street, Lancaster Avenue, and Market. This position has provided me an amazing opportunity to work with federal, state, and county officials and with multiple borough councils. I think now is a good time to step down from this position in order to pursue yet another adventure. I will continue to promote the Borough of Oxford, the business community, and the wonderful people in the community, and I will always be indebted to council for giving me the opportunity to help my hometown. So, there you go.
How do I respond to that?
I don't.
I regret your resignation, I will say that right up front, and I commend you on the job that you have done over the years, and I've enjoyed working with you, and
That's hard for
and
you to
I,
say that.
and we have 90 more days, so,
Well.
I hope we can, finish those 90 days.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say that it really is the best job I've ever had to be able to help the town that I love so much, you know, and I by no means am going to stop doing that. I love this town, will always love it, and plan to go on doing it another way, so. Thanks.
Thank you for your service.
I just want to say that,
I'm sorry, I'm shocked. I'm
Oh,
disappointed.
well,
to be honest with you.
yeah.
Betsy, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but
You were the one that brought me on.
was part of,
I know.
part of the hiring process.
Well, you know, my gift to you is you can actually count up and see the 90 days if it comes out to Jan. Because you know how you like to check up.
I'm not sure how many days.
But I did see that the June 20th was the first day of summer, and I thought, I can't come into that.
But like I said, I know we haven't seen eye to eye on some things over
It's
the
fine.
past 10 years, but thank you for your service to the
Oh,
borough.
sure.
And Mr. President, I think probably as a procedural matter, at some point, council should probably vote to either accept or not accept that resignation.
You do that now, or,
It's all to you. You're in
And it's,
charge.
it's,
You know, I'm not,
it's on the agenda, cause
90 days. Yeah,
you know.
whatever you
it's already
want.
on the agenda, it's her
Report on the
spot.
agenda.
Right. All right, do I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion that we accept Betsy's resignation, because she would like to move on.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and I will say regrettably.
Yeah, definitely with regrets, definitely.
Any other?
Not only with regrets, but the residents of Oxford are gonna wonder why, when Peggy Russell came on council, the meetings began to take 3 hours instead of the 2.
Now we That long as the
And,
board.
Takes
and
Betsy
now,
away.
and now the borough manager is bailing. Honestly, residents of Oxford, it was not anything I did.
But Peggy, that's always the case when new council people come on. Because when these three guys came on, we had 3-hour meetings, or 4-hour meetings, so.
But that stops next meeting.
It is with deep regret, deep regret.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Betsy, we wish you the best of luck, whatever you have planned after this. And, yeah. But we remember, we got you for 90 more days.
Yes, you do.
And then you're in the audience.
Oh,
So,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Betsy, for me, I'd like to say thank you for the patience you've shown with me in the last 2+ years.
you're a piece of cake.
I know I'm not all the time, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
truly appreciate, I've learned a lot, and I appreciate your patience and guidance.
And Betsy, I wanna say that since I've been on council, anything that I wanted to do, he was always helpful getting it done.
Yeah, I'm pushing you out there.
Yeah, yes, so I appreciate every
Well,
comment.
thanks, thank you, thank you. That's very nice.
On that note, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
we have a motion and a second
Oh,
to
yeah.
adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.